when like row 7 is going to lag behind row 9.
Right. So
It
we're
might be,
talking over the top of this right now, by the way,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is going
So
to
I
be
saw,
kind of funny.
well, I saw that on the stream yesterday. Is that it was, I was like, or not yesterday, whatever it was,
2 days ago.
earlier, 2 days ago. I was avoiding talking during this period, and then anyway,
Yeah,
um,
it doesn't really matter. This
we
is
were
just an
talking.
overlay.
We were talking about the rough edges in ZX. There are a couple that I have.
Bah.
There are a couple that I have just scripted around with shell scripts. So, like one of them, for instance, is like fetching the log of application after it failed. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, fetching log. There was a couple other log commands before that I pulled out. I couldn't. I didn't have them as minimal as I wanted. I think I'm just going to put back in log last. And so log last can do two things, and this is where I just was like, whatever, I'll think about it later. Um, the most useful version of log last that I wound up with was a command that just gave me the path to the latest log, and then the trick there is that every different system has a different way of doing a tail type command or cat or less or whatever, and there's no uniformity across that. So returning the latest log's path for a given app um, was like the best I could do to kind of script around that. So you could then use that to write your own thing. On the other hand, um, I think that I rearranged the way that I have to look at it again because I forget now. I don't remember if I did this or if I intended to do it and didn't yet. Um, yeah, okay. I wound up putting the timestamp at the front instead of the app name to make sure that they always sort in the correct run order. So it's easy to write a shell
so
command that just does tail that thing.
yeah, so that's the way my shell script works. Is that it does ls on zomp log OTPR, the application
Mm-hmm.
name, and then picks the last one, and then oh, and then there's a problem with my TUI application when I was debugging that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you can't just use printf because the TUI changes all the like character mode on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would have to go read the log, and it would dump like its whole state to the log, and its state is like huge, right? It's got like
Mm-hmm.
the whole engine state, it's got like every contract, it's got everything was in there, and so
That's actually the biggest wart to me that affects everybody daily is in
but
if we
dude,
go
it was crashing less less that program, or not
that's
crashing, but like making it just so painfully slow. Um, so I had to write. I can't remember exactly what I did, but I managed to work around that.
here's the part that I haven't done yet that I really want to do is in done here. Um, there's these different error outs, right? Um, and this one right here, where we just do this error out and you get a blah. And in addition to that, in now the harder one is in the logger. Um, this is a tell, right? But in the logger, what you really want is it probably have to go to a separate file because it won't really fit in the way that logs work. The logs are expecting lines, and log analyzers are going to look for lines to parse, as opposed to multi-line things that they don't understand that well. Unless you want us to go to like XML logs or something like that, which sucks. Um, so having a pretty printed crash state, having a crash report that's pretty printed would be really nice. And that's something that I want to do. It has not been done
It
everywhere that it should be, where that I would want it. Because this done actually catches the return. Like this is helpful when your startup fails. You know,
right.
when you're when let's just say the Gaju desk controller, when that crashes and then its supervisor knows, oh well, we're all dead now. You don't get that back here. You get the crash from the crash reporter just log goes to the logger, the system logger, and it dumps all that stuff in there. So you get one of those giant, you get one of those crazy crash reports. Like we can probably find one real quick. Whichever one of these is huge, right? It's going to be some big thing. Zomplog, OTPR, Gaju desk, whatever this one is. 2026 30 312. Okay, so like this is gonna see like this, right? I would want. Well, this is a compilation succeeded thing, so that's gonna have an ugly. That's about to go away. That's the build artifact. We're looking for this. When you have a crash state that's like gigantic. Maybe this isn't even a crash, actually. It's not. This is when I was trying to figure out why I had one of those bugs where like you have the state record, like a function that's supposed to update the state was returning okay in this one case, and so state became okay, and so you're unresponsive because you never match on a button click or whatever.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
you're looking for like an event and you don't have the event hook anymore because you just obliterated it. I did one of those.
Language than Erlang.
What's that?
I said this is why Haskell's a better language.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
yeah.
No, these are just okay. Well, I don't have any fucking juicy crashes in here, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
I've thought that would have some crashes in here, but I don't. Those have been solved, and actually, that's kind of not what I wanted
I mean, you get
to show.
it's not quite as bad in Erlang, but like in Python, if you have any type of application that is written in Python and it crashes, the stack trace that you get is just absurd. And
Mm-hmm.
like very little of the stack trace has anything to do with what actually went wrong in the program. Um, it's,
Yeah.
something went wrong 7 assumptions ago that were not checked, right?
Yeah. The most annoying one with Python to me was like the most infuriating one that I'd see the error message and it would just make me go Ugh, was when it said something about like Unicode something and it had nothing to do. It was just any string operation that barfed, and there's a lot of them that could barf, would say some Unicode thing, and that never had any bearing whatsoever on whatever the problem was. You just had to like sit there and stare at it and be like, what went wrong? Kind of like old school C crashes where you have no information about what happened. Old school assembly with no tooling. I'm going to go put this in the refrigerator. I'll be right back. Talks amongst yourselves. So this on this stream is kind of like agentic coding today. I've got Agent J and Agent P who are here, and I need to upgrade to Pro so I can get them to render in and use up my token budget. But they're here. They're staying muted most of the time, which is less fun than having them talk. Anyway, I'll be right back. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator.
I am staying muted because I have a habit of talking to myself while I'm coding, and I want to say something weird on the stream. So, oh, Craig, we weren't having a conversation without you, Craig. I promise. No, I was saying that.
Was it machine speak where like two AIs recognize they're talking to each other?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We were talking actually like old fax machines. Um, um, anyway, what I was saying. Oh, I mean, the reason that I stay muted is because I have a habit of talking to myself while I'm coding, and I don't want to accidentally say something weird on stream. So that is the only reason.
Like what? Your Tourette's is going to act up?
Well, I just out of habit like have to. I mean,
Just like
you've
randomly.
heard you've been on calls while I'm writing.
Uh-huh.
Um, I can't. What's his name? Jeff. We were writing something together on one time on stream, and he started making fun of me because he sent me some clip. I think it was of I think it was from Forrest Gump or something, where somebody is writing and like what I'll do is like I'm writing a sentence and I'll say ABC ABCD ABCD ABCDE, and so I just sound like a crazy person just repeating the same thing but with like two more words each time. It's
And
like
then the
like
thought of the
out
sentence starts
loud.
peeling away. You just have
Yeah.
this rolling substring that you say over and over
Anyway,
again. It's great.
I kind
anyway,
of, I kind of like that.
and coding is like that, except I also get frustrated and angry at the compiler when it's doing something stupid. And so, like, anyway,
Oh,
um,
Jarvis, by the way, completely unrelated to anything. The other day, uh, remember I told you like I tried Stardew Valley?
Hmm.
Okay. Well, then I was like, I noticed that the zoom and everything, it's just a single perspective frame. And so if you make it bigger, it doesn't stretch, right? It just shows you more of the map. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what happens if I install that on my stupid monitor at work? And you can just see the entire farm.
That's cool.
It's
That's
kind of
funny. And
like the normal
wow,
view
edge
is like
to
just this.
edge. And you just walk around on a giant map. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like the map doesn't move. You just like every cell in the game, you just see the entire thing. So like when you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to find another stupid character, like where are they? Well, they're like you just see where they are. You don't
Let
go
me zoom
looking.
out to my CIA vision.
Yeah, yeah, it's like well, let me get the NSA view real quick to
Oh, there
figure
he
out.
is.
Yeah, let me get into the
Deploy
strategic
aerial
strike view.
drones to
Yeah,
give
like
gift to Leah.
we're we're arranging a drone strike on the, you know, as you could see on the greenhouse
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the game. But anyway, I thought that was funny.
deep
I'm like,
state,
wow.
if the deep state wanted to improve their social media presence, like that's the way to do it is to have the people who operate like the drones, out in the desert in Utah, just have them like live stream on Twitch. They're like, you see this Russian guy? Yeah, we're just gonna blow him up, and you see he's running,
Mm-hmm.
and then like have like sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
the
have subscriber challenges. So at 100 subscribers, you get to watch a hospital with people in it.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the yeah the drone operations. That's different category of drones. Uh, the FPV drones are you have to be there with them because the turnaround has to be so tight. But the Predator drones, they fly those from stateside. Let's see. Doo, doo, doo. So where was I at? Okay. So this Jarvis, I don't know if you've seen I don't know that you've seen this stuff lately. Um, the old call interface uh, was a modal, and it had like the parameters, which key you want to use, and all that. Probably be helpful if I just ran this real quick and just showed you what I'm talking about. Um, uh, okay. Oh, that's right. I did a bunch of weird shit yesterday. This is the one that I would want, I think. Yeah. Okay. So if we pull a browser tab out that I can move over to the screen, um, so if we do like this, and so then open the contract thingy. If I open this contract from the chain and then I click deploy, I get this call interface. This is the call arguments, and this is the parameters down here. So the whatever key you had selected is the one that will show up here by default, but it, you can pick whichever one you've got. You know, how long this should live for, the gas, transaction amount, gas price. If I do, so we'll just flub this real quick. If I was deploying like the base contract, right? If I click deploy, I'm just going to get invalid transaction will be my return. This call worked previously in the modal version. Now I'm getting invalid transaction, but the call path to get here is not like, it's not different than it was. I compared the two. Yesterday, I went through like each step of all this and compared what's happening, but I'm not sure why I'm getting invalid transaction. Peter, I don't remember, had you ever worked out a way to like dig into why a specific transaction was invalid, or did we just figure things out and moved on?
What type of transaction? A spend or a contract?
This was a deploy.
Oh, a deploy. Okay. I was just looking at this yesterday because I had a deploy that doesn't work. Okay. So if you, I guess we can't pull it up on stream, but in the node code, I assume you're deploying over HTTP, correct?
Yeah.
Like that's how you're in.
I'm calling the post TX
Okay.
endpoint.
So, well, I think with the post TX endpoint is that every single type of transaction goes through the same endpoint. And so if it doesn't fit, and there's like a billion reasons why it could fail, and I think they basically all get compressed down into invalid TX, essentially.
Almost all. Sometimes you can have, well, that's different. With dry runs, you can get a little bit more information, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. I can go look in the code. But the
Yeah, my understanding
if
is
you're
if you want information, you go to dry run.
okay, I don't have a ton. I don't know for sure, but yeah, when I've been calling it in the node context, there's a bunch of different reasons that it can fail. One of them is like you had a serialization error or like an API encoding error. There's that level of error, and then there's
Okay, maybe this
like
is more tractable.
right. The
I'm just gonna.
yeah.
I'll just call like the price. This should be a price report function, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's no arguments, it should return integer, which is going to be one of the CV blob things because I'm not decoding it. This should be sufficient to call a lookup for price, right? Submit dry run, and I would get back over the gas limit.
Okay. I mean, if it's me and I got that error, I would just go through the HTTP server. I would literally with grep search for over the gas limit and then look at what code path leads to that. I can do that here if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Can you run it with more gas?
Sure.
Yeah, that was my thought. Wait, if you're over the gas limit, that probably means that you put more gas than the gas limit in the microblock.
Yeah, the
So
Or
micro
if the
that should
gas price is too high?
no
at this point
the gas
now we're
price.
at 50 million.
Okay, no, the maximum you can have is 18 million.
Right. So this is 5 million.
Okay, try that. Over the
Over the
gas.
gas limit.
Okay.
Yeah, 500,000
Is
over the gas limit.
like
I'm not
what's
sure
gas price?
gas price. This is the old minimum gas price.
I
I'll
think
increase it.
there's definitely if you query the there's definitely a code path within the node to get the current minimum gas price, and it would be extremely
There is.
strange to me if we don't expose that as an HTTP endpoint.
Well, actually, what's silly is having a minimum gas price. I'm going to remove that later in the node.
Oh, okay.
The minimum gas price should be 1 puck, and then mempool contentions. If you're succeeding at all, mempool contention should always be such that 1 puck almost never gets mined. That's the whole point of having a gas price, is to have people compete over it. The frizzy hair drug addict.
Oh, it's kind of like
minimum gas price. It's just a
okay?
contrivance.
Okay, I have a question, and because I don't actually know what the gas price does, I just know that there's gas price, fee, deposit, amount, and they all do slightly different. Anyway, my question was: is the problem with having a minimum gas price roughly analogous to the problem in economics that comes with having a minimum wage?
Yes, it's exactly
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yes.
So gas price is the multiplier in pucks of how much each point of gas costs in pucks. So it's a modifier.
That's
So
okay.
if I'm going to make a call and it costs 10,000 gas, okay, that's the cost and gas of an operation is a combination of the how many thunks it costs plus storage, and in our case plus storage over time. But the storage over time one doesn't go into the microblock max. That one component's not part of the max, but the total storage, the size and the amount of computation is part of that. So if it costs 10,000 gas to run a specific transaction, the amount of pucks I'm paying for that to the miner to include it is that 10,000 times the gas price that I've listed. And I choose what that is as the submitter. What that allows me to do is if I'm submitting a 10,000 gas transaction and I set my gas price at 1 puck, the miner's only going to get 10,000 pucks for including it. If somebody else, if Jarvis sets his gas price at 10 billion pucks, then 10,000 times 10 billion is how many pucks the miner gets for mining it. So you're able to compete. The mempool is allowed to compete over price, the price of using the blockchain. Does that make sense?
The mempool can compete.
No, the users of the mempool can compete in a market sense.
Well,
so
yeah,
I can prioritize inclusion in my transaction by setting a super high gas price.
Even though it doesn't. Oh, I see. So the gas price is essentially.
It's a pick me function.
Yeah. Okay. It's essentially a dowry.
Well, it's the rating. Gas is just a point calculation, like a reduction budget, and then each reduction costs how many pucks. That's the gas price is how many pucks each reduction costs.
Okay.
And that way, I can have the exact same transaction that you have, but mine will get mined instantly, even in a very contentious mempool, because I'm willing to pay way more to get this included.
Okay.
So I'll get prioritized.
That makes sense.
So that allows things like priority transactions to cut through a surge.
Yeah, it's surge pricing, essentially. That's the bottom line. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the function of that. Now, the idea of having a minimum gas price is just silly.
I mean, I could see a node configuring that in terms of like its own view of the mempool. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm mining. I don't want to deal with I don't want I don't want the poor people coming into my store, and I don't
Yeah,
want to mine the poor people's transactions, but like, you know, that
it
makes
will.
perfect sense.
It would certainly be again though that winds up being this like okay, what's the selection function? Because the adversary relationship among node operators is such that node operators who wind up becoming a miner, like if you're mining and you're including transactions, you want to get the highest block reward that you can. Well, so you're going to have a selection algorithm that tries to cherry pick the highest priority transactions in the mempool. That are the highest value ones for you to include them, and that and you want to suck those up before the next guy becomes the leader. So cherry picking from the mempool is like a selective function over the total pending transactions. Gas price certainly has a huge weight, you know, a huge weight there. There's going to be some additional selection criteria, but quickly deciding what order you should include things to get the best deal for yourself is important as a miner, especially later on once the block reward for actually minting Gajus as that declines. Um, the mempool gas function becomes this very important thing. So anyway, having a minimum gas price doesn't make any sense as far as like the chain goes.
Okay. Well, so you're so for that error, I found it's the exact string. It's a 403 error, and the exact string is over the gas limit. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So I found that in the code base, and that is inside of a case statement, and it is the false branch of TX gas limit is less than or equal to max gas. So basically, if the gas limit of your TX is bigger than max gas, which comes from it basically reads something out of Gajumaru.json. So it's AEU env colon config value, and it's HTTP dot external dot gas limit.
Okay. Well,
So
let's hope this is an interface screw up. That would be so nice.
here, just set your gas price to 1. To 1, and the gas. Okay.
Well, then that'll be under the minimum.
Oh, okay. So that worked.
Yeah. So the problem was
I
your
know
gas price is
these are switched.
Oh,
I almost guarantee you that's what the case is. Is that those are backwards.
Palmer's law strikes again.
So, yeah. No. If this works on deploy, we're doing great. So, let me go grab this stupid contract thing again. I was hoping it would be something corny like this. Dimitar is going to freak out
when it finally works.
Yeah. The horrible thing is that if it finally works again, because this did work before, I just made Dimitar a sad person.
Just a glimmer of hope and nice.
Life could have been so great. Okay, that didn't work here. However, I can go fix this silliness, and we can come back to it in just a second. Okay. No, we want to just like. Yeah. Okay. We'll reread and reread. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is what I was working on. The next bit of master, which I'm just gonna have to do some funniness with to get back to sanity there. Maybe I'll just wind up overwriting it in this one. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so the call parameter, gas price, gas TX amount. Okay, and then params. Oh, yep, here it is. Well, I'm assuming that's the only place this is turned around. It could even be in. I might have this like funky inside of Hakuzaru. Might be spun around. Yeah, see, gas price. Okay, so the ordering actually was correct here, according to this. Where is this getting inverted? Gas price. Gas price. Huh? Am I going nuts? Gas price, gas amount. Gas price, gas amount. We're receiving this here. Yeah. Now, what I just switched over here was this ordering. Gas price. But over here, we're calling contract create built. Contract create built is gas. The ordering is gas and then gas price.
Oh, is this you changed Hakuzaru to be more consistent? Did you change Gajudas to call it more consistently?
No, I've just got something stupid happening here.
Fair enough.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is the 8. Okay, no. I've just got like a general. Yeah, I never actually aligned these. That's why. I need to change them to be the same.
At what stage did you never align them?
Here, so contract create built and contract call have a different ordering. This goes the caller ID, nonce, amount, TTL, gas price. This one goes caller ID, nonce, gas comes before amount and TTL, and this one amount and TTL comes before gas and gas price. They should be like the same.
But in which file is this?
In Hakuzaru,
One in.
create contract create built and contract call have different call argument orders for no reason.
Yeah, right.
Here, so this is contract create built, and then so contract call, we go caller ID nonce. Okay, caller ID nonce, right? And then gas price. So gas stuff, and then amount and time to live. And here we go amount and time to live first, and then gas price. So
Brilliant.
in contract call, gas comes first, and create gas comes last. Why? No good reason. It's kind of like things that happened in the Erlang standard library back in the day, where the end verdict, Robert Verding was just saying, maybe we were a little bit too cavalier with just implementing things really fast, and kind of forgot that having a uniform flavor to the standard library would have been good. That type of issue. So now that that's ironed out, I was just blind. I was blind to that yesterday for like no good reason. I just been looking at stuff too long.
But isn't that something you were specifically trying to fix recently?
Yeah, that's something I mentioned to you.
Okay.
I haven't.
It was just an idea.
No, like I have a branch where I messed with it, and then I didn't realize like I have another branch right next to it, where in the same file I was messing with the compression stuff, and I'm like, I'll just mess with it later and fix it all at once.
Too many irons.
Yeah, well, I have too many like branches around that one file because it's all interfacey stuff. One of them's the interface, like when you send it a thing, it compresses it, and then when it gets it back, it checks if it's compressed, and if it is, it'll decompress it for you and give it to you, and you never have to know the difference as a caller. It's just smaller on chain. And then the other one is like for the programmer using that library, they care about things like call order. Well, okay, all right, now let's see what happened. This is still invalid transaction or not? It is. Okay, so deploy still doesn't like me. Let's go one step further then with this. And, oh, not that. I want to load from chain. Huh? Where's my thing? There we go. Oh, this is that reverse. This is the fucking, see, like, I got that state broken thing. That's in the later branch. Okay. Now I had done dry run, and it had worked. No, over gas limit. Why is this one over gas limit? What do we have here? Oh, do dry run. Where's the do the dry run one? What calls do dry run? Engage for get. Okay, do dry run. Contract ID, unsigned transaction. Oh, it's already built up. Okay. So these are all the same as we expect. Gas price, gas amount. We know that it does what we expect. Gas price, gas amount, and then gas price amount. TDL. Contract call. Okay. Call ID, nonce, gas price, amount, TTL, ACI, contract ID, function name, args. Yes. Weird. Now, we don't have a reason with dry run results. Dry runs they send actually a list of dry runs, right? Like
They
actually.
you what do you mean?
When I send a normal transaction in, it's just the one. But I believe that in dry run, you can submit a list of things to dry run, and you can also have a list of keys with it, stuff like that. They don't have to be signed. There's like some weird stuff with dry run.
There's definitely some weird stuff with dry run. I don't know if you can send multiple, because it would need to be multiple transactions in a sequence. Maybe you can.
Ooh, you know what? In static text, I also cannot select this.
Yeah.
That sucks. I'm not going to type this shit out. Okay. So to match on I'm still perplexed though. So encode call data and then call data 2. And they call it contract 3 gas. It's always gas price, gas price, gas price, gas price, and then here it's the template is gas price, but it doesn't matter. We're matching on all the right stuff. It's going where it's supposed to go. Why is it though? What? That used 9 million gas?
9 million pucks?
No, 9 million gas. That'd be 9 million gas times how the price of the price in pucks to tell you how many pucks it used.
Mm.
But my point is, gas should not be. There's no way that's right. This was a lookup. This was a price lookup on a contract. Look, I'm calling sales offer price. This is like a Gaju market price function. It should just be a lookup.
Are you sure it's not multiplied by the gas price?
No. It's the gas price times the gas used. It tells you how much it costs in pucks. Gas used is your metric for how heavy an operation is.
Mm-hmm.
Microblocks have a cap of 18 million gas. That means you can only do 2 calls per microblock. It's a stateless function. Like this doesn't make this is like way high. Something is off about that. Because if we look at the function that we're calling, price is this is the function that I just called.
Also the return value, if you run that through GMC, so if it's a successful return, then the return value is a fate object. If it's an error, if it's a revert, then it's also a fate object because it was explicitly called in fate code. If it's an error, then it's a string that tells you more about the error.
Okay. Well, at least we got a different error code. Did we
It's
get
not working differently.
Yeah, why would it have errored out?
Well, I'm saying that if you extract out that CB string
Yeah,
and
that's what I was trying to do, and I'm like, oh, this is not a. If it's a read-only text control, then I can copy stuff. This is a static text panel, and so I can't just select it. I can click on it, but nothing happens. So I need to change that. The TX info thing.
It would also be handy to do more processing of those result blobs in Hakuzaru.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
something every time we discuss changing Hakuzaru that it comes up, and then
Yeah, I want to put that's like the last feature I want to put into this before we push the update to Gajudesk, because I want to have a function in Hakuzaru that like I can give a result blob to. I wouldn't want to do it before. I want to give all the raw stuff back to the user first, and then additionally provide like a very convenient decode function that could take the result and then read it and be like, oh, well, this is a successful return thing. Here's the type that it should be, whatever, and decode that. Versus the if it's an error, then be like, oh, well, that's an error, so it should be a string. Like know which one, because sometimes those CB blobs are like very, very opaque. And without some type information, you don't, at the end of it, you don't know how to get it back to like a Sophia thing, a Sophia literal, unless you have type information. But we do have type information. So in this case, if you just send any transaction, you don't have type information in the transaction. But in this case with Gajudesk, we have the type information and the transaction that we want to do. And so when we get that back, we could then make a second call to Hakuzaru to decode stuff based on the type data that we have. So from the user perspective, using Gajudesk, it'll just be magically decoded, and that's great. But that wouldn't necessarily help another caller that's just submitting any random transaction. So we have to decouple that a little bit.
But you still want to be able to decode the CB object and then potentially, coerce it or render it as a third step after that.
Right, but that my point is that they're different steps, and we shouldn't try to do all of that before handing it. Like we need to give them the raw value plus conveniences to be able to convert that raw value very readily, but not do it all every time, because sometimes you want the raw value. Where was this? Is the devman thing? Maybe it was load. One of these does not return. Oh, this is it right here. Get contract from TX. This is it. Okay. That fixes the problem of a failed load. Well, not entirely. See, I still can't interact with it again because I obliterated the state. See, state okay.
It's all okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Handle troubling in this particular, like, it's one of the handle troublings as being like that one right there. What really should happen is handle troubling. Oh, this too. There's another one here. What really should happen is handle troubling should hand back state. That would be like the correct solution to really fix this. And I'm sitting on the fence about this. Every handle always returns a state is the thing. So it's like it's unidiomatic to have handle troubling not return state. Which is how I got myself into this in the first place. You know what I mean? Like not following the idiom.
Well, I'm sure it's fine. What's the chances of that foreshadowing coming back to bite you?
Well, since my code always works the first time.
Apart from that, recent experience.
What do you mean? I was just testing you guys.
Oh, okay. That was a learning exercise.
Yeah, it was a learning exercise, and you guys failed. I had to do this by myself. Okay, let's see. All right, we're going to load garbage, and then we're going to see if the window still responds. Oh, from hash. Garbage. Okay, can I still close it? Oh, see. Works now.
Your code works.
My code
every time.
60% of the time, it works every time. Okay. Yeah, I still have my event handling thing here. This is all a button clicks. Oh. I can't. Are you asking me right now? No, that was an hour ago. Oh. We have a stalker. So. So, now that GitHub rebases to the wrong base, that's what that error actually was. I looked into like how in the world that could ever have happened at GitHub, and they seem like they have like feature flags. They push their like future feature update stuff to production, and then they have flags that disable them, which seems really dangerous, but they do this. And they had misconfigured their feature flag so that something that wasn't a finished feature got like executed in production, and it's rebasing to the wrong base and would just like wipe out stuff.
Brilliant.
Pretty cool. And
the predictable failure mode happened.
So, yeah. Let's see. You know what I'm really bad at doing is like noticing live chat.
Mm.
I am not good at that. I don't know how people that play game like hard games where you have to like pay attention, like look at chat.
Yeah. Well, often they don't. If you're,
Maybe.
that's why there's so many. There's a whole category of games that are mindless enough that you can pay attention to chat, and they're called streaming games, stream friendly games, and stuff.
Stream friendly games. That's
Stream slop.
stream slop. Just have my AI. Well, I mean, like I have you guys here as my AI agent conversant people.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. Sometimes you get
We don't really consider you people.
Is this some sovereign citizen thing? Am I a corporation?
The traffic stops have been pretty interesting. I haven't been able to keep up with it all because there's too many.
Yeah, those just make me sad. I like the maritime law stuff. Also,
what? This is a whole.
well,
this is like a whole new thing.
Birth certificates. Oh, you don't know about maritime law? Oh my god.
Well, I know a little bit about it.
You know about the real version.
Right. Well, the whole sovereign citizen thing is basically just like, kind of just. I don't know how to explain it. They basically have made up this old version of the law from 1870, and are just pretending that that's still what the law is. Is the bottom line?
Oh yeah, you got to have the guys with the guns put their foot down and say what he just said is the law.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If you disagree, I'm going to shoot you.
This is whenever my wife and I discuss sovereign citizens, the conclusion she kind of comes to is like they think that the law is first about rights and like secondarily about what is enforced at gunpoint, but it's actually first about what's enforced at gunpoint. And if you're lucky, you get rights. And then the way that I put it is that basically sovereign citizens believe the things that the UN says, that like you have human rights and stuff, and that comes first.
That comes from a deep misreading of human rights. Like the UN's very explicit and open about the idea that human rights is a refutation of natural rights. And rights are a way to protect people from having to Human rights can exist when the authority figures have first taken all of your rights and are now the absolute authority, and then they will enumerate a list of things they're promising to provide you.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a resource constraint or a crunch or the greater good demands something different, they can arbitrarily just change that list of things.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they refute, very directly refute the concept of human or of natural rights as opposed to human rights is that natural rights are inviolable. They are considered to be like the entropist would say an emergent property of whatever, but the old school, like, uh, Scottish Renaissance thinkers would say these are part of the laws of nature as the world exists as we experience them, which is that's why you have this idea right doesn't might doesn't make right, except that like it totally does.
Mm-hmm.
And the Scottish Renaissance thinkers were not like opposed to the idea that maybe that's at least in some form true, but the humans also have this ideal beyond that we would like to extend to people and say we don't have like this is our way out of the law of the jungle, is
Mm-hmm.
to say that there are natural phenomena that occur all around us we can observe, and within that, if we take that as a framework, we could say you don't have to fight things out. We can make rules by which we're going to associate with each other that are based on what happens in nature. And
Mm-hmm.
from that, they get this like natural. So these are unalienable natural rights. And you can only wind up having a handful, which is like life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And pursuit of happiness means like kind of whatever you want to pursue is your thing, as long as you're not stepping on the first two for somebody else. Like Jeffrey Dahmer's, pursuit of happiness does not trump somebody else's right to life. So, right. So like, and that if once you go to human rights, so once you refute and you just reject natural rights, you wind up in this place where with human rights, you can say, well, it's for the greater good that we recode our psychopath serial killer Prince because we need him. We're going to recategorize serial killers as persons with hard to meet needs, not as criminals. And it's unfortunate that for the greater good, his hard to meet need is, going to be the end of you, but that's just you today. And for the greater good, who cares about you? That's the way that plays out. It gets really dark really fast. So the believing that we have human rights as the UN states them is a misreading of what the UN actually says.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a little more deep into it, human rights and natural rights are quite different things, and they come from totally different like political theories. The French, the French Revolution was all about finding the right dictator, whereas the American Revolution was all about getting rid of dictators in general, as a category. And we'll see which one outlasts the other. It's not clear cut at all which model is going to
Mm-hmm.
wind up working out long term.
Well, I mean, the trouble with the American model is it created a bunch of wealth that then attracted a bunch of dictators.
Well, it's like the American model was so successful, it didn't know how to cope with its success, and so you wind up having this like, oh well, the social contract here actually works because everybody has buy-in and they're aware of it. Well, let's make them unaware of this over several generations, and then see what happens. Well, then it all falls apart. So this, you can't have like a bunch of self-entitled brats do something
Maintaining.
like the American experiment and have it succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Happy thoughts there.
Happy thoughts, as always.
Yeah, happy thoughts.
Maritime law is this exciting world of it's like a conspiracy theory vaguely. It's sort of orthogonal to sovereign citizen stuff. The maritime law conspiracy is that like all legal documents are like a trick in order to financialize people, and
Huh?
uh, And so you'll love this. As with other sovereign citizen stuff, it's all based on like puns and contrived contrived new meanings of words, retroactive definitions and such. So birth certificates, they reveal, is actually BERTH, because actually your birth certificate represents you being short,
Oh,
and so you're actually like cargo for some merchant.
what?
That's my I haven't studied maritime law in a while, but that's what I remember. It is great. It is my
You,
favorite.
okay. I, okay. Whoa, but what about like in other languages? Because, like, as you're aware, I speak a few more often than I speak English, and um, that's not the same word at all. Puns, like based on puns. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory based on a pun, and that's why it's the best conspiracy theory, and
Oh
that's
my
why I
goodness.
believe it with my entire soul. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is stuff that Americans and Canadians talk about and think about, like insane sovereign citizen people in North America. So, like, they don't know that other languages exist, except maybe French. So,
They don't know other languages exist. Well, that's
so
kind of goes back to Peter's theory that we just have to get rid of the other languages because obviously.
mm. Yeah, yeah. North
Not my
American
theory. That is your theory.
chauvinism.
And I directly quoted from you. Just want to reference.
Oh well, the rules of okay, the rules of canonisms. By the rules of cannon blasts, I'm the cause of that because at some point I said something. Okay. What was it? It was like result or something. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. If it's reason, it's an error. I believe that's correct. I'll find out if it is or not. But I wanted to get rid of like the WTF case and
I'm,
actually have it handled troubling.
I'm starting to come to the opinion that the whole concept of having a tokenizer or a lexer is sort of like the 1970s version of OOP solid design principles. I can see why this pattern would make sense in a language like C to write a lexer this way.
Let me.
Sorry, I had to distract you. This is
No. Let just so having these different stages of compilation is not really necessary if you're writing a single language for a single platform for a single architecture.
Mhm.
Once you're writing one language for multiple architectures, you want to have some layers in between so you can divert at a certain stage. And to be able to pivot to a specific architecture, you want to have a uniform syntax tree representation somewhere in the middle. And to get to that syntax tree representation from multiple languages, now you want independent lexers and parsers that all convert to this common thing from which you can then pivot to new architectures on the other side. So there's kind of like you want to get to
You want to
have
have
a
a
funnel.
universal intermediate representation, right?
Yeah, you want this like multiple languages can compile to this thing, and then this thing can be then applied to specialized to
Yeah.
multiple architectures. So that funnel winds up being this like these layers of lectures, and typically
Mm.
lecture step is an accepted part of that path. But when
I
you're doing one to one to one, you're like, why are we doing all this?
Well, it's not just
I kind of disagree though, because um if you're many to one to many, like that only requires that you have some machine language intermediate, It doesn't require that you make each front end with its own lexer and parser. Lexers and parsers are are optional in that case, and the thing that makes them useful in that case also applies in the one-to-one case.
Well, let me clarify what I was saying originally. I am
Mhm.
not claiming that the concept of tokenization, as in like parsing tokenization, is a
Mhm.
bad concept. I think that that actually makes quite a lot of sense, and every parser I've written has had that concept implicitly or otherwise. Um,
Mhm.
what what I'm reacting to is more this concept of you have a, this specific way that lexers work, as in they have this sort of implicit stack machine, and every time, so for instance, if you want to if you want your so for instance the lexer is sophisticated enough that it can parse nested comments, so you can have you can comment out your comment, and when you uncomment your comment, like, you know what I mean, you can have comments inside of comments in like
Mhm.
block comments. And so basically it basically has to have a stack to keep track of what depth of comment you're at, so that it lexes a
Right.
whole comment at once.
Uh,
Um,
Yeah.
and it's
Which is
like,
why
okay,
that type of thing, to make them easy to implement, you wind up narrowing the scope to where you have lots of mutual recursion so that backtracking is automatic.
mm-hmm.
And
And
but that puts you
trying,
in a special category of languages.
I don't know, reading the Sophia Lexer code, it's kind of, I get the feeling, I get this a lot reading a lot of Erlang code, is that dude, they're parsing Unicode with regular expressions. So,
Are they writing
um,
Perl and Erlang and trying very hard
well,
to do so?
I think basically they're trying to write, it's what the hell is it called? LEXX, I think, is that the program on Linux or
Lex, yeah, I don't
Lex?
remember. Lex, Bison, and
Basic,
Flex.
yeah, yeah. It basically, they were trying to implement the pattern that they were familiar with.
Hmm.
Like, I get the sense that this is somebody who had written a lot of different compilers for a lot of different languages and is like, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to do it in Erlang, so I'm going to write the Lexer concept in Erlang. And
Hmm.
so it has basically it's very oopish. So basically, like, so it starts with defining a bunch of regular expressions, and then including one, a regular expression for Unicode in byte order. Like, then it has,
Wait, what?
yeah. Look, if you pull up the I don't want to. Anyway, it has. I don't. Sorry, I don't want to distract you too much. But then, basically, the Lexer is basically a prop list where it's, so the definition quote of a Lexer, as far as I can tell, or this is a Lexer spec, and then there's something that compiles it to a Lexer. But each, it's a list of pairs, and the first element in the pair is the regular expression, and then the second element in the pair is a function that is like a fold over the state machine. So basically, it's a match
Okay.
this, and then when you match it, apply this transformation to the state machine. And I can understand implementing that in C. This is kind of, this is the problem. Like, my impression reading this is that this is a solution that is too general for this specific problem.
Mm.
Like,
Right. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
it's
running
too
into the
dynamic.
issue of trying to make something general enough that it becomes a DSL, but without any of the benefits of a DSL.
Well,
Um,
it's
which,
very
yeah,
similar to using a web framework.
yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly.
like
The
in the
same thing
like
happens there.
using a web framework gets you a lot of it. You can get memories on the monitor very rapidly. Um,
I,
the the
I
issue
can.
is that you end up starting to have to shoehorn the sort of natural structure of your application into the structure that the web framework insists on, and it never quite matches, and so it's always messy.
I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the way that we got to this was, um, remember, this started out with an EVM implementation and Fate sitting next to each other, multiple languages in the same context. Sophia grew out of that. Would something supersede Sophia later that we want to add as like an optional compile path or something? And so how do we do that? Well, what's the familiar pattern that we already know? It's this bunch of stuff, and then you're straight in the classical compiler comfort zone. And so you just implement that stuff. Maybe not in the most idiomatic airline.
Right. You just want to get something done so that you can iterate on it.
Right. And so I wouldn't be shocked if it's also like the way things have worked out is that Sophia is great and we want to double down on that direction specifically and make that as good as it can be, as opposed to worry about like, well, what if somebody wants to use the same machinery for their favorite little vanity language they're going to make right on
premature
top of it.
Generalization.
Yeah, right. Which we've talked about before, right? That there's premature optimization, there's premature generalization. And I don't think that was a huge issue. Premature generalization was a thing that like, I had mentioned it in the context of Yagni, the yank it and eat it problem. But
it's a problem both in discovery and in pedagogy, which is interesting. It's very rare that you have some sort of concept that applies equally well to both in exactly the same circumstances. Like, okay, let me give you an example. If I'm trying to explain matrix multiplication to you, if I start by defining what a vector space is, and then give you the axioms for a field, and say, okay, this is a vector space over a field, and then here are the linear homomorphisms over the vector space, and then if you have a basis for the vector space, this is how the composition of linear homomorphisms impacts the basis vectors in this very specific way, and therefore you can use this what's the word, rectangular array representation, provided you have fixed a basis to describe the linear homomorphism and to decompose and combine them. Now you have no idea what the hell any of that I just said was. Okay,
yeah,
but
it's so general. Like, why is anything?
Yeah. Now that's like if you go on Wikipedia and look up matrix multiplication, that's how it's going to be explained to you. Now, but like if I give you some concrete intuition about, okay, let's say that I have two lines and I want to find the point where they intersect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to represent each of the lines using a rectangular array. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply transformations to the pairs of lines. So you imagine, two diagonal lines that are intersecting in a point. And then I apply a sequence of transformations to each of the lines that ends up sort of systematically with one line being a vertical line and one line being a horizontal line. And therefore, one of them is x is equal to this, y is equal to that, and therefore that's the intersection. And at each point in the transformation, so I have, two lines that are meeting, and you imagine them, meeting at a single point. And then I apply one of the transformation, and the lines look a little bit different.
Oh,
your mic just cut.
Sorry, I hit spacebar.
Is that your way? Spacebar is your mute?
No, I don't want to get distracted by that. Anyway, at each stage in the transformation, it doesn't change where the two lines intersect. So I have two lines, they intersect at a point, and then I, Yeah, I hit spacebar on the frame, and you get two lines that are slightly different, and but the point where they intersect is the same. And you hit spacebar a finite number of times, and that number of times is bounded by order of whatever. And eventually, you get to two vertical lines, or you get a vertical line and a horizontal line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that tells you x is equal to this and y is equal to that. Now, I can explain each single one of those steps in terms of a matrix multiplication. That's called Gaussian elimination, what I just described.
Okay.
And that's you can the operations in Gaussian elimination, I think they generate the group of invertible matrices. People who actually remember anything about abstract algebra are going to be screaming at me, but I don't actually remember. But it's something like that. Anyway, the point is that like you can kind of matrix multiplication is also one of these things that's just so rich and applies to so many things that like it's very weird that your intuitions about, for instance, about lines intersecting, that there's a totally straightforward way of relating that to the problem of discovering loops in a graph. There's a totally straightforward way of mapping your intuition about problem A to your intuition about problem B. And like if you so linear the point is that
But
if you're
this
trying to
isn't
learn
this
linear
isn't where you
algebra,
start. Yeah, this isn't where you start with trying to teach like a kid how to do arithmetic, though.
right? Well,
Depends on the kid.
yeah, you're not trying hard enough.
Right. Yeah. Before they figured out their letters,
Right. Well, what you
they're
need
still
to
trying to remember e, u, e, o, and they're like, oh, by the way, matrices.
um, I think that I can't remember if this was a natural link. No, I think that there's the sentence buffalo, 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 buffalo. That's a grammatically correct English sentence, and it was discovered by a linguist at the University of Buffalo.
What?
Yeah, your English comprehension isn't as good. You've been in Japan for too long. But anyway, that's
What?
yeah. Anyway, so somebody made
Wait, buffalo.
yeah.
Where's the
Is
verb?
buffalo like the F word in English? You can just say like
No,
for
well,
anything.
so there's a verb buffalo, which means to bully, essentially. Then
I
there's the
didn't know that.
city buffalo,
Right.
and then there's the animal.
Right.
So buffalo, buffalo. So bison in buffalo, 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 who are bullied by other bison in buffalo. Buffalo, buffalo, buffalo. They bully even more bison in the city of Buffalo.
This is kind of like the FFity FFFF.
Yeah, so there's a programming language, I believe, called Buffalo, where, like if you capitalize the letters differently, it's basically like brainfuck, but each, different way
Yeah,
of
all those
capitalizing.
gimmick languages are just brainfuck.
Anyway,
Makes me sad.
I didn't realize how close to that though. Like I was trying to explain like buying and selling the words for it in Thai is similar to in like Japanese and Chinese, all kind of connected. But in the tonal languages, you get bye bye, and then like in Japanese, just bye bye because they don't have the tones.
right.
The kanji is different, and so everyone knows that. But if you flatten it out and you try to teach people in just like Roman characters, none of it makes any sense. They're like, "How do you know when?" And then you try to explain, "Well, this does make sense. I promise." They just don't believe you anymore.
I don't trust you anymore.
It's like, yeah, I don't trust your intuitions about language. You're obviously it's stupid. Okay. Wait, that wasn't supposed to go that way. Did I not save that? Whoa, that's wrong too. I don't have the task, like the bottom bar thing on this monitor, so like when I'm alt tabbing through stuff, it's awkward. It's like, get all confused.
Hmm.
One of these days, we should just stream something that's like not work.
Yeah, we should.
Like play a game. Oh,
We
look,
could do
I'm
that.
dumb. I put these in the wrong spot. Ha ha.
We could maybe have one day that is like I don't know, maybe if it's like the weekend for you or something. So it could be like Friday or
Yeah, well, actually, it's Friday here already.
right, but Friday in
It
the
is. Yeah, it
civilized
is.
world.
The new world.
Yeah.
The civilized. Well, Jarvis, you're close to my time zone. So it's just, look, I got 3 now.
Let
I
me
got 3
remind you.
people.
Let me remind you that you're telling me about his place being the civilized world. His place was literally a prison colony.
That's
And
true. That's true.
okay, so
But Jarvis is like providing hope to us about how far you really can rehabilitate people. I mean, just look at him
I'm a
go.
Yeah.
rehabilitation
Jar-
project.
Jarvis is the best argument for rehabilitative justice. No,
And I
but
don't
like,
mean
but like,
idiocracy rehabilitation.
no, but it's crazy actually if you think about it. Australia and the United States was, I believe, also a prison colony for a long time, but we just don't talk
There were
about that.
people that were condemned to debtor's prison on certain colonies. Or like
Right,
their option was to go to debtor's prison or get sent to a colony to work, and they would go there as
right.
indentured servants, which is how the slavery thing was justified to begin with.
Yeah. Anyway, so weirdly, I think like the best argument, like the best practical historical argument for like the leftist theory of, you just need to like listen to their feelings or whatever it is, and that'll solve crime. Weirdly, like Australia is the best argument for that.
It's
Maybe.
not. No, it's not. It's not for listening to their feelings. The path they go on with that is that understanding why somebody did something excuses what they did. That's never right. The idea that somebody could change course in life and be rehabilitated, that has some promise. Like
Well,
not
yeah,
everything.
that's
In
very.
particular, there is a very distinct injustice with things like debtor's prison, where you say we're going to put you in prison until you can pay your debts. While you're in prison, you can't make money, so your debts get worse.
Mhm.
That's like you're never giving anybody a way out. That's like that's the sort of justice argument that is absolutely a correct criticism. You can't
It,
put
it
people in this like trapped system.
it's essentially like if you have people in like the gladiator arena or whatever, and they have a way out, but they have to like climb up this rope, and the rope is covered in oil. Like
Hmm.
technically speaking, there's a way out,
Hmm. But you
but
make it. It's one of those category things where they don't make it illegal, but they make it impossible.
yeah, and like the entire time on the rope, there's like sirens trying to get you to jump off the rope. And hey, have you heard of DraftKings?
Oh, I the degree to you'd mentioned I never paid attention to the ads when I like watch clips of like American sports. Um, the degree to which gamble actually, so when I see clips here locally, I don't know if they do this with AI or they just know like when the shots are going to be taken, and they take certain shots for like maybe certain angles are for
Mm-hmm.
like different market TV or whatever. But I get ads for like you know SoftBank and Rakuten and like JTB or whatever, that I see if I watch an MLB clip on TV here. But if I watch clips on YouTube with like an American commentator, all the ads are in English, and dude, like all of them are. They used to all be FTX. Now they're all DraftKings. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
well, you know what's funny? I really I think I have a screenshot somewhere, and if I don't, I hope somebody still has access to the Eternity Slack, and we can dig up evidence for this. But I remember this was before FTX collapsed. I came into crypto from the from the programming side of things. I wasn't interested in trading. I didn't know what an exchange was, any of that. Um, and I saw like I'm a big baseball fan, and I was watching baseball, and I saw FTX, like they had like the logo on the umpire's chest. It all said FTX, and I looked into FTX, and I'm like, what the fuck is? It's some crypto thing, and I wrote in the Eternity chat, like I explained all of this, and I said, hey, does anyone know what FTX is? I mean, it's probably a scam if they're if they've got this much buy-in from mainstream institutions. There's no way that this is legit.
Mm-hmm.
And like nobody knew anything about it, and you're like, FTX, I think that means like foreign. I've heard of FEX, that's foreign exchanges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And
FTX in the Army means like field training exercise, but
right,
that's
and then
certainly not what this is.
I had never heard of it, and then I didn't care about FTX until later, and then that whole situation blew up, and I'm like, yeah, so my heuristic of if you have an ad in MLB for your crypto thing, there's no
And
way
you're a
it's
scam.
legit.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
because basically, like, okay, the only reason you get it, and it's a little different now. This was like what 2000, early 2020s, I guess, was when I was working at Eternity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Must have
about right.
been. When did FTX blow up? I felt like that was before COVID. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
No, it was
Um,
just after, I think, because like we were already, you
Yeah,
had
you and I
already,
no,
you
yeah, you
already
and I
went
knew
to
each
the
other, and
Night
we
King
met during.
Marathon thing.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like when I go to my family reunions, and all my boomer relatives are talking about, oh, did person X die, or did person Y die? No, but then so and so died, and because I remember his what, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay,
2022, November 2022.
okay, yeah. So FTX. What was I going to say about FTX? Anyway,
The Turtle Girl.
yeah, poor girl. She's just she might be a really nice girl.
I know, but she got built cheaper than she scanned people for billions. So I'm not. My sympathy
Well,
is like
yeah. Anyway, but like kind of my
in the
impulse.
polycule. Let me remind you of the polycule. How innocent is that?
But my impulse is that basically, whenever you got something that had that much sort of public buy-in from mainstream institutions, that there is just the only reason mainstream institutions buy into something like that is if they can use it to like fuck people over.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's one of the more interesting sort of story arcs that's fallen apart over the last couple of years is that people have gone from being like, stop sucking up to the man or the banks screw you over, whatever, to being like, you can see more clearly now. It's not even the banks that screw you over.
It's
There
just
are very
it's
specific people that really do screw you over. It's not like they kind of do. Like there's
well, I
very
think
predatory plans.
I think what emerged, especially with Silicon Valley massively all at once, the preference cascade there is like, it's like, no, these corporations are actually just sort of neutral profit seeking entities. And they would very much like to not have to do all of this, stupid censorship bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to have to, enforce the regime's mandates for them, and they don't want to have to be the thought police, and they don't want to have to do like all of that negatively impacts their bottom line. They just
Mm-hmm.
are kind of complying because that's the easiest thing for them to do. But
Right. The central banker problem was similar to that. That was the shocking thing from Greg going to one of the big conventions in Zug was that the central bankers were the people that were the sane ones. And they're
well,
saying,
yeah,
please don't destroy the economy with like control oriented CBDCs are actually a really horrible thing because the whole economy will fall apart. And you guys are the ones that keep making me right. But you guys, like the politicians, are the ones making us write crazy blank checks, and then on top of that, being like, we'll also make sure that we're never able to pay those by crushing the economy, squeezing the life out of the economy, and introducing regulatory uncertainty at every turn. Which the problem with the uncertainty that they introduce is that it's like absolute, and that unless you're going to break the law, the uncertainty becomes absolute.
Breaking the law is the only way to create certainty. That's a good formula for civilization.
Well,
Yeah, that happens.
that's essentially Peter. That's essentially Peter Thiel's point. Is that like he's like, okay, the only reason that we had any sort of innovation in the world of bits, but none in the world of atoms for the last 50 years was because governments just hadn't gotten around to regulating the world of bits, essentially. And so if you're, young and adventurous and you want to do something, that's the, place where you can go do it. And that's starting to change. But like, if you look at AI, the whole AI bubble, the whole premise of it is just, okay, well, fuck IP law.
Right.
Right. Fuck your copyright. Right. So like if you play, on YouTube, if you, start playing Tool music, okay, you're going to get a copyright strike, or, the stream's going to get muted by YouTube. But like ChatGPT, you go tell it, generate something that's very similar to Schism, but isn't quite the same thing, and it'll just do it. I don't know about ChatGPT specifically, but like you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing is just there's no intellectual property as a concept is just not. Anyway, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't figured out how to implement a copyright respecting version yet. And so they're just going to hope that copyright is temporarily suspended because they're the prodigal son of the economy right now.
I think their whole thing is basically we're going to make ourselves important enough that they can't afford to enforce copyright law.
Yes. Yeah, I was about to say that exact type thing. That's kind of the issue with our approach to the exchanges, since nobody has any real activity on any chain. It's all like there's wash trading on Solana if you want to get into that. Yay. But there's no nobody's buying a pizza on chain. So being the first place to have marketplaces and things like that, I think that the fake exchange issue will solve itself. We don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about having like a stablecoin bridge, or getting like the reason that Jeff was so wrapped around the axle about like, well, what's wrong with circular economy, like utility tokens? And the thing is, that's been such an accepted model for so long that we can go ahead and find utility in like the state channel high speed, payment case. And then, okay. The context for that is there's this whole new bonus program that companies are coming out with where I got to sneeze. No, I don't. I hate that. Oh, I hate that. Okay. So anyway, back to what I was saying. There's this whole new bonus model where like companies are saying, we'll pay our employees X amount of dollars, whatever, it says your salary. And they're like, oh, but we'll give you a bonus. You can pick between having equity in the company, or we'll give you a token budget. And like how many tokens you get per month or whatever is part of your, now they're paying for it, right? But like, that's one of your perks, is that you have this certain token budget or whatever. If your token budget was actually in like pucks to pay for however much a token gets prorated for, and then you could also wind up just spending that to buy a bicycle online instead, that would be super nice. Like you wouldn't really need to.
That's interesting.
Tokens for your tokens.
Yeah.
And then you just get all your pay in Gajus, and then actually it's just money.
Yeah, exactly. So there's ways to get in there without even having a bridge, is my point.
I I've liked the idea for a while of have our bridge be just the fact that you can use it to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
Like our bridge should be goods and services. Like what's your bridge between the Korean won and dollar? My bridge is that I can go to Korea with my Korean won and,
Mm-hmm. Get
go,
wasted and into
go
a
buy
street fight.
go buy some.
It's
Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah. Well, I don't know everything I know about Korea I learned from Squid Game.
I still haven't seen that. I heard it's fantastic, and they've been
Um,
making some great movies lately, but I have not seen Squid Game yet.
yeah, well, it's Squid Game and biographies of Kim Jong Un. That's.
Oh well, but we saw Wutapak,
Oh yeah, the Wu Tapak lady.
the
She got
North
taken
Korean
off of YouTube.
propaganda.
That,
Oh, is it gone now?
yeah, it's gone. I might have saved it somewhere, but
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
that girl was hilarious.
North Korean
She,
propaganda is like
yeah,
next level. It's better. I
Chinese
liked it a little more than the Chinese stuff.
the Chinese stuff is just fucking like it's just
Bizarre.
it's just bizarre and it's just funny because it's just like okay, this is just not serious. It's like something that like 13-year-olds would make.
Like watching this cute girl try to give us a tour of the Wuta Park and be terrified of her handler at the same time was kind of
Yeah,
endearing.
just like every time she says something, her face freezes and she looks, 10
And
degrees off the
yeah,
camera.
it
And
made me feel for her. I feel nothing when I watch Chinese propaganda. I'm just like,
and she and
oh,
she's dude,
drive around the pool.
she's at the fucking like children's hospital and she's at the playground in the children's hospital and there's no people. There are zero people. There
Yeah.
are zero humans other than her and the cameraman in this
It makes you
entire
wonder,
building.
did they clear the hospital out like all the sick kids? Like, get out of here. We're filming.
Yeah, they did throw him in the river, and then, well, they have an overcrowding problem. Throw him in the river, and then she's going, "Oh, how I love to go to the children's hospital to play on the playground."
It's like one of the top 5 creepiest places to ever go is a children's hospital. She's like,
Yeah.
I love to go to the children's hospital.
I love going down the water slides at the water park.
Oh my goodness.
It's just
Sometimes
like,
the swings swing on their own, and you go,
I know, I was just thinking that. Like, this is really bad.
it's kind of like the North Korean version.
children.
It's basically the North Korean version of Rappin' for Jesus.
Because Jesus Christ is my nigga.
Yeah, and God,
That was really funny too.
that was great. But the thing is with like how the hell did we get started talking about North Korean propaganda?
It's fine.
It was me. Sorry.
It's probably just blame it on Jarvis. How did I leave a color check in add code page and it's just been printing color on its own every time I open a code page? And I just look at how often I reference color.
Brilliant.
That's it. That's like how I figured out how to do the color environment check, and then like I just never got rid of this.
Oh, dude, my TUI debugger, every single time it needs any information whatsoever having to do with anything in the source code, it literally rereads the file from the directory because that was just what was easiest to code in.
Oh,
instead
man.
of like hashing so like literally every time you step through an instruction, it does like 4 file reads. It's really bad.
Dude, that's tame compared to like Visual Studio.
Oh yeah, no. Like I'm like,
You
okay,
can just watch your hard drive go. "Whoa." Like you can't even use a spinning disk anymore to write code on Windows
no.
because it's just locked up. Buffer.
Dude,
Hang on, hang on.
You can't even use a spinning disk to run Google Chrome.
Wait a minute. Baiting.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Like you can barely boot. I've had some customers that were stuck on like older computers that they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll click to upgrade to Windows 11." No, it takes like minutes to boot. And it's just the drive is going bzzz, like it makes that crunch noise that like little, like the old laptop drives. it just makes that crunchy noise for like a while. I kind of like that noise though because I grew up with it, but like it just goes and it just started doing that for a while, and it's like every second that passes are other file system and registry checks that Windows would want to, I'm guessing, would want to do that are just buffering, queuing up. And so by the time the thing gets started, when you do log in, it goes again, and your mouse is like, eh, eh. Like everything's just slow on the system because it's just crunching on the drive. You try to open, like, heaven forbid you want to read a text file on Windows and open WordPad because that's like 9,000 new disk reads that are all tiny and non-sequential, just scattered all over the disk. Um, it's was it Worth's law? Nicholas Worth was like software gets slower faster than hardware gets faster.
Yeah, the way that I phrased it is never underestimate the capacity of stupid programmers to uninvent hardware.
Yeah, well, to squander. I
Dude,
think the way I've phrased it is like to squander hardware achievements.
dude, um, basically, my computer just running Firefox is slower now than it was in like 2013. Dude, it's so like crazy.
Back
Dude,
when Firefox was like 7 MB.
dude, it's so crazy watching like old Casey Muratori streams from like 2014. Like I was watching some of those, and he like opens Chrome, it opens instantly, and then he
Mm-hmm.
Googles something, and the search completes instantly, and the first item is exactly what he was looking for. I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. This is how.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, it's like
I
when
was
you
like,
click on, like, no sites don't do like what this one's doing right now
mm-hmm.
anymore. That's not a thing. You have to. Well, you remember how big the tabs were, and like CNN.com or whatever was like hundreds of megabytes in
Oh,
memory.
dude.
And but what they're trying to show is like not even a couple. It's like a few kilobytes of text, and then the images should be the heavy things, but they're not. It's like the gradient code, and the miles of JavaScript to make
Right.
well, like our hello world.
Dude, we cache it with Cloudflare, so it's fast.
We
uh,
use Kubernetes, so it's all parallelized.
I always wonder about that. Like you have people accessing their bank website over Cloudflare, and it's like, okay, or I don't know, the whole CA. I'm not going to get into it right now how compromised the CA suites are, but it's just it's
We all know that every certificate authority is absolutely trustworthy, and they would never do any.
they're completely honest. There's not even a motive for compromise in the
No,
certificate authorities. All right, and no government would ever abuse trust
no.
like that. How
Well, that's
dare
the
you?
whole premise of digital signatures is that certificate authorities are totally trustworthy. That,
Right,
there are actors in the world that we can totally trust. It's just we don't have a way of communicating with them in an encrypted way. So,
right, right.
Well,
That's
what's the phrase? Capacity refutes intent.
capacity refutes intent. Capacity informs intent is our big problem. Once you have the capacity to screw everybody over, why not do it? You'd have to have like a moral compass or something to stop doing that. Pfft, silly. All right. Do. Is this a weird angle? Like I've got my giant screen over here with the camera on it, and then I've got like this thing over here that I'm writing on.
no, it's fine.
Okay. Oh, we did catch the thing. Ta-da! So it's coming up there like it's supposed to. That's good. Don't know why I closed that. What I wanted to do was come over here. Load contracts, load from chain, doink. And then show me who the buyer is. Over the gas limit. Okay. But if I reduce the gas price, this is 10 million. And I wind up with, I need to make this bigger at the bottom. Or put off the side or something. And I got an error back. And it burned almost 10 million gas to tell me the error. Contract ID is this. Okay. Oh, wow. Look at how these smash up. I'm triggering GTK freakouts in the back. I want a GTK build that doesn't do that. It gives you all of GTK warnings. And they only have like a step down new line.
Probably. Okay, so I can tell you from doing my TUI, I can tell you exactly what the problem is. Is that it's going into ANSI mode and it's printing Unix new lines, and
Yes.
your terminal is expecting Windows new lines. So that's what's
Yeah. Well, it's expecting not even Unix new lines. It's expecting full cursor control.
yes.
And
But a new line in ANSI is \r\n, and
yeah,
like that looks to me like they're printing \n.
yes, that's correct. That's all they're doing. That's why these break down. They're actually doing twice. This is like new line, new line. New line. Get over to here, new line, new line.
It might be doing like new line and then cursor down.
New line is usually how you do cursor down. There's another positioning command, and
yeah. There's a move the cursor down by n.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then there's
which
move cursor to an absolute position.
Which they wouldn't be using here, because if they were, they would have also had move cursor to beginning. Which is why I think these are probably a new line, new line. This is like intended to come out in a log. Like this is probably intended to be dumped to a text file.
Yeah, probably.
So, but anyway, trying to attempt to allocate widget with width 959 and height -1 is what happens when this happens. Squish. Squish.
Oh, and that's because WX uses -1 as like a universal something got screwed up value.
Yeah, well, so this is a fixed size, and then this has to be a certain size to fit this. And this element up here is the one that's allowed to be squishy.
Mm-hmm.
Is the arguments thing. And it goes squish, squish. But once I get to the point of squishing this border, it goes, no, and it complains. So, but I wish I could just silence that stuff, because you don't really care. Right? Like, look at all the disgusting stuff you can force it to do. Which, it's only slightly less bad than web elements, but GUIs are just hard to do in general. I'm crushing all my divs, but they're not divs. Anyway, this I'm going to dump out in to the terminal real quick. Check text. TX data, text update info. Did I do the update info? I did. That's where this is coming from. TX info, blah. That's static text. Maybe I should try text control. And because text control is not static text, obviously this has to be set value.
On the subject of GUI, Peter, you might find immediate mode GUI interesting as a concept. It's something that Casey Muratori kind of discovered and made a video about before Handmade Hero, before he was like internet famous. And then quietly, some people implemented libraries that did it so that anyone could use the idea. And then it like slowly became this industry standard for like during development rapid iteration of UI. Totally parallel to Casey's later Handmade Hero coming to fame.
Okay, what is the concept of it?
Well, if you're doing a video game where you can, like, you're already redrawing a whole bunch of 3D meshes every frame, it's no big deal to re-specify how the UI is going to be drawn every frame. So you just stop retaining state about where your rectangles are, and you just retain state necessary to track whether a button is being pressed or not. And then you recalculate where on the screen it should be every frame, because that is like totally trivial compared to
right. That's like a couple of adds and some multiplies, and that's it.
And then you send like 2 triangles or however you implement the actual rectangle itself. It's
interesting. Okay.
And so any like game dev library nowadays lets you just draw stuff to the screen like that, and so then the structure of how your code, how your button should react, like what should happen when your button is pressed, instead of passing a callback to something, you end up writing code that just says if button down blah, then, and then you literally write what you should do when the button was clicked and things like this.
That's nice. It's slightly frustrating how really, really close to an extremely nice idiom for GUIs WX Airline winds up being, but then you're still dealing with like this OOPy thing that's WX itself. It's so close.
Well, I mean, honestly, this is the most pleasant way I've ever dealt with OOP crap. And honestly, WX's version of OOP is really not that bad.
It's not that bad. It really isn't. It's just that you do have to remember, like, oh, I'm talking to a C++ thing. It's got all this like baggage.
Yeah, but like it's really just like slightly more complicated than dealing with a struct. Like there's not a ton of foot guns. It's not. You don't have to know how every single thing works in order to know how anything works, which is usually the problem with OOP.
Yeah, there's 2 tricky cases. One of them is they both deal with graphics context. One of them is that certain platforms have like certain requirements for how you handle an event loop in combination with painting, and Apple is very strict. Cocoa is really strict about it on Mac. Linux kind of lets you do whatever you want. And they're like, if you have screen tear, that's your problem. There's a way to fix it, but you can do what you want. Windows will kind of let you do what you want, sort of, until you get into 3D. But in Cocoa, the way that you have to do your paint events is you must handle them in a callback. And the reason that you have to handle them in event callbacks instead of in the event received as a message So because there's two ways you get events in WX Erlang. One is you get an Erlang message, and that's awesome because you just get it as the handle event and you match on whatever that is and you make a decision and just batch. And it's really nice. The not so fun way is you get an event that you. So here, I can show you right here. Okay, your frames, or actually any different thing, you can like tell it to listen for like click events or whatever. So here we've got we're listening for the close window event. So that's when you hit the X at the top of a frame, right, to close it, or command button clicked. I don't know why it says command everywhere, but command button clicked. That's when you click a button, anything of the button type. When you click it, you will get, a message about it. There's a couple of variants of that. You can get like, when the click goes down, and then you can check like within that event were control characters depressed or not and stuff like that. But basically, you can get a message when a command button's clicked, and you can get a message when a window is closed. You can do, well, there's a whole bunch of them you can listen to. Like you can get on key press down and all that. That's how I did all the rotations and shit, and the 3D stuff that I wrote was like, if this key is down and the mouse moves, so then tell me where the mouse is at, and as long as it stays down, keep giving me mouse events so that I can query where the mouse is at, and then we'll rotate a thing until it's up. Or on mouse click down, do this, then register the difference in this coordinate and that coordinate, and that's how much we moved. And then you make some metric for how much what the value in the matrix rotation is for making the scene move or zoom in or whatever. But you get all those as Erlang events. They're really easy to deal with. The part that's tricky is so like the events, you just get handle event stuff. This stuff here, handle event, command button clicked, and then like what's the button that we're getting? If it's the action button ID or if it's the copy button ID, I can just match on it in this head. If I have a whole bunch of them, I'll have like a map of of button IDs, and I'll look them up, and then I'll match against the list, which I was doing. GDV DevMan has like a whole bunch of possible things that might get clicked because there's a bunch of buttons. And so in that case, I build up like either a map or a list of, I use records, and I either have a map of them or a list of, doesn't matter. But I look up the ID. So if I get a command button clicked, I take the ID, I look up the ID in the button's map, and then I pick which one it was, just matching on which one came out. Or in this case, if it's a name, that's a function or dry run, like a call or dry run button in a contract. There might be a ton of those. So we go to a clicked function to actually pick out which one that is, and then register the call, and then open the call or dry run interface and do all that stuff. In ZX, not that ZX, Z. Oh, it's not on here. I would need to go to GitLab com. If I go to ZX widgets, one of the things that we're using in this one is the modal thing. Is this too small to read?
Sorry, I was muted. I can barely read it.
Okay. Ooh, okay. So what this does is this lets you set up a modal frame. This is just a setup for you. This is the boilerplate you would need to do that. And it also sort of serves as a tutorial, like, how I do a lot of code that's kind of like explanatory, but it's also useful. That's what the intention here is to explain in detail what all this stuff is, how I used that modal thing to set up this modal text, which you use constantly in different programs. But it explains exactly how everything works. And this is all the event handling. So we are implementing ourselves tab traversal, escape button for cancel, and enter for OK. So you can just type a thing in, hit enter, and it goes. or you can hit tab and go through elements. And whenever you hit enter at the last one, it's the same as clicking OK. Or if you hit escape, it just backs out of the thing and it's the same as cancel. Implementing those behaviors, you can implement those. You can get close to implementing those with just Erlang events, but the callback method for doing this is different. So what we do here is we set all this stuff up. We have the info height, promise give value. Okay. Label. Okay. So this is just getting options that have been passed in to make the thing a certain size. So here's the thing you're used to seeing. Command button clicked and close window. We're just listening. We're connecting to those events. These are special ones. We're connecting the frame to the key down event, and we're going to do the callback handle key. And then we're connecting the text object to key down event to the handle key, handle key, handle key. So what's handle key? Handle key is a function that is created by the key handler here, and we are registering that as a callback that happens outside of the Erlang message event loop. This is part of we're registering some Erlang code to be called in the context of the WX handler itself. So the context of this code execution is inside of the WX component of the Erlang runtime. As opposed, it's almost like calling a NIF, sort of. You don't get a message to initiate this. This is going to fire on its own context, which means you can't see state at this moment. You have to be able to write a function that can do, so the key handler, we're going to enter this function. We're going to know whatever the text thing is. We're going to know what the OK button and what the cancel, or what the OK and cancel, where do we define those? What these OK and cancel buttons are. So we have references to those so we can touch them. But if we didn't close over those when we generate this function and pass it back, we wouldn't be able to access those either. So any references you want to touch in one of these callbacks, you have to pack into that callback. And it needs to, like, the only useful version of this is to have a closure that closes over a bunch of state that you need. So this is the way that you would do, like, that Mac demands. They will not paint anything to the screen unless you do your paint cycle in this type of thing. So the context of the call that you get, that's like, you have to have complete information for what you want to draw, and the panel that you're going to, like, all the IDs or the references for your panels and all that stuff has to all be closed over in one of these callback functions. And then you can do a paint thing. The reason they do that is because Mac is, like, absolutely paranoid and terrified of ever being accused of having screen tear again. So Coco's mandates that if WX is going to draw to the screen, it has to happen in one of these callbacks where they can control the context. So that's what this is an example of, is building one of these callback closures that can be fired off outside of the Erlang message loop. So this is the other way to you're saying there's things you just have to know in OOP. Well, this is one thing you just have to know, is that there's this context that's outside of the message loop that you're used to in Erlang, where you can call things, but the way that works is this funky way. And this trips up a lot of, this actually, not understanding this confuses people so bad that they'll, like, quit. They'll go write, like, Electron apps instead of deal with this, because it's not hard. They just don't know what this is, which is kind of annoying. But so these are message handlers like we're used to, handle event and make decisions. This is a different thing where we're going to get a key event, and based on what the key event is, we might send a message to myself, tab text. I'm sending naked messages here. So these wind up in the event loop for handle info, tab element, and tab traversal. So this is how we implemented those. But they have to come from this wacky kind of context here. That's why I've got... So Jarvis, this is the kind of code that I do have a lot of comments on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. WTF code.
Yeah, where it's like, why is that a thing? And there's like no explanation of this in the WX docs in Erlang. This comment
That's
needs to
exciting.
exist somewhere.
Yeah, you got to get that. Make a pull request into the main docs.
Yeah, it's kind of okay. Anyway, that's the additional thing that can happen in WX Erlang is you just have to note there's these. I need to rewrite. I can show you. I think I can show you. Can I shrink this down? Okay. Is this visible? Might be too small. That's really small, huh? So on Mac, if I do zxrun arltris, it opens, but nothing draws on these panels. I'm playing a game, I guess.
Yeah. Invisible Tetris.
See, I'm getting a score. My score's going up because I'm hard dropping pieces. Eventually, I'm going to die. There we go. Game over. Right. So the game happened, but I couldn't see anything, and the reason is that this is written with the that other event loop. This is the way it's supposed to look, right? But because the paint to these panels happens in a different. Now I get a line when I don't want it. Nice. Drawing to these DC paint surfaces on Linux is fine in a message receive loop. So. Anyway, I am kind of confused about why that. I need to get this error back. So what was I doing? I'm going to get static. I need to find all my instances of static text in here. Oh, whoop. Call sizer, static text, new frame. Nope, don't need that. Nope, okay, it's just labels. No, don't care. Yeah, don't need those.
All right, guys, I think it's about time for me to head out. So I'll catch you
Okay.
guys tomorrow. I might, if you guys are on way later, I might rejoin, but I doubt it. All right, see you guys.
All right, take care.
See you.
So what has we? Update. TX info. Which is just completely like my types are totally wrong right now. Whatever. I'm just going to see how this. Oh, I'm stupid. I just opened Tetris again. Okay. Open from hash, blah, blah. Okay, that was good. Implosion. New static box. Value nothing. Line 53. Do. Oh, that has to be an option list, not a tuple. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. That's funny. I didn't make these read only, so they're like input boxes, but they'll never do anything.
Yeah. Excellent.
It's pretty cool.
What is transaction info?
So the unsigned binary, the signed binary, and then something else, and then I think a signature, and then the bottom one's supposed to be a multi-line, and it would be did it do fixed width font? It did. Look at that. Okay, so the font update did work. That's cool. Anyway, I want the bottom one to be a multi-line, so that when the transaction info comes back, I can copy paste out of it.
Right.
I just borked up to doing this the way that I want. Let me get these things in there though. Deploy contact invalid transaction. Okay, we expect that. And then like cool. What was it? We were trying to look up buyer or whatever. Over the gas limit. Still makes no sense to me. So did that actually show up in a thingy? Maybe it did. Oh, look, I got the thing now. Return value.
Woohoo.
So what were we doing with this? We've got serializers. Yeah, we have the serializers in scope. So what's this? GM. Or do we have a Sophia? Oh, none of this is in Hagazar, right? It's like GM Ser some shit, right?
Yeah, just GMC. If it were a contract or an account, then you could interpret it as a Sophia literal, but
this is an error return, I believe.
Yeah, so it should be a UTF-8 binary blob.
So how do what is it? API encoder? Decode?
Yeah. And then dump the string.
Okay.
And it might need to be a binary.
Here we go. Function with hash ma is not payable.
Ah.
Contract byte array. I like how it's just got Erlang syntax for the middle part.
That's brilliant. The
What kind of
nerd
bi-
just
I heard you like
dumped all that.
binaries. Yeah, I put a binary in your binary so you can decode while you decode. That's pretty funny. Function with
Yeah,
hash
the,
mer.
the layers of serialization are quite exciting.
That's pretty funny. Okay. Well, all right. Wait. But this is kind of fun because it means that I could write a thing right now that just shows this, right?
Mhm.
Which is a worthwhile direction to go with the feature set, even though it's making me laugh at how silly that was. I like it, sort of.
Because what you really need is a fourth half-implemented feature in flight.
How did you know?
Traffic control is getting bored.
Yeah, this is what I've been looking for a while now. So that's why I was thinking. Like, you see how this all cramped? Well, not really up here, but this is kind of cramped. I'm thinking about moving this stuff to the side here,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, or making the whole thing just like way bigger. I guess.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
way bigger
sounds
is not
fair.
bad, actually.
Yeah.
Way bigler. Okay, so this definitely needs to be multi-line, though. No doubt about that. Can I get... I don't have a good way to look up the... I'll have to pull the dimensions of that and have it, like, show it to me some other time. I've got a dimension thingy here, which I actually don't need if we're just going to always have the same... Well, okay, 700 is without arguments. So let's make this like 800, 700, and 800, 900, and see if we like this size. Oh. Can I cheat right now and do... I bet that I can. What module was I just in? GDV call. Oh, what am I doing? GDV call. Okay. I might be able to actually just rerun this. Buyer. Look at that. You see that?
It's tiny on the Rumble Studio thing.
Here. You see this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's check this out. I'm going to cheat.
I'm just going to summon it from the command line.
Yes, because I'm lazy. So
Amazing.
this is how I cheat. But don't tell the youngins to do that because they'll start shooting themselves in the feet.
It's different when I do it.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. I never make mistakes except for when I do. So we're going to get rid of the dimension call entirely because we don't need it anymore if it's always going to be the same. So we don't need dimensions. Oh, that's down here. Doink. Okay, dimensions is coming in from there. Don't need that. Oh, do need this though. We want 900 by 900, maybe? Everybody's screen 900 pixels these days? Sure they are. So that was one. Oh, that's what I wanted. I guess that's okay-ish for now. Where's one with an argument? Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so that works. Where was that text thing that I added that was disgusting? Oh, it's this. Okay, tx info t. So I need to set like a different mode or something style. Set style. Oh, I don't want the given range. I want the thingy. Okay. I think I know what I have to do. I have to have this open. Should just have the prefix. Yep. Okay. Just making sure. Messing with Kotlin fucks up, like messes up my syntax sense.
We don't know how to write simple things anymore.
Yes.
Why isn't it complicated?
Wait, hang on. Wait, why isn't Vim taking up 9 gigs?
Why is my computer so cold?
That's how it feels. Okay, I'm going to just sort of. Oh wait, I got to compile that one too. GD See, this is why I don't do code loading very often. Because it's like I'm switching multiple files and I'm manually recompiling them and having it reload and I swear it'll be okay. Okay, so txinfo monotext tx hash. Nothing is going to be in that one. Now I'm doing what style? I'm adding flags. I'm just going to recompile this on the fly, and I just assume it's all going to work. The messed up thing is this will work, and then something really simple will like break the airline compiler. Multi-line text control supports styling. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. Set default style. That's not what I want. What I want is in the new call, we have an option to provide options. That was a dumb way to say that. But you get the idea. Create for options, style, integer. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back to the. They don't include the styles in the auto-generated like documentation for WX widgets for WX Airline. So I have to go to the WX widgets. Yes, I'm not a fuck. Why would you ask if I'm a robot reading programming docs? Like,
Open
isn't that what
core.
robots do these days? Literally. Okay, WXTE multiline. That's what I want. I can never remember that shit. So WXTE multi-line. Okay. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. I'll see in just a second if I guess it's okay. It compiled, so surely it's fine.
Surely it's fine.
No, it is not fine. Something finally went wrong. Oh wow, that's a big dump too. I'm not going to look at most of it. I'm going to look at just the bottom part because that's what I care about. What did I do? I probably called something impossible. Oh, you know what I did? I added an arity 4 function, and then I didn't export it.
Mm.
And because I compiled it from the command line like that, I didn't get warnings. They just went off into space. There were warnings, but they went off into space. So, oh no, there weren't warnings. You know why? Because I used the 4. See, 3 just
Ah,
is equivalent to 4, and it
you're
calls
using
through.
it internally. Oh, okay, you're just dividing your code up that way. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, why would you do this? I don't know, but you did, so it's fine. Okay, that's what it was. I have to click things again.
Ugh.
It's so primitive. Why isn't my
Why isn't
open
OpenClaw doing this for you? Why can't you just send a text message to your server farm and have
Wait a second.
it get really hot?
Did I made the wrong one multi-line. That was good thing that wasn't publicly on stream forever.
Mm. Yeah, that would be pretty embarrassing. People would go, "This guy is really the best they got."
It's like, no, not even close actually. I'm just some guy.
He's just the one bold enough to start streaming it.
Yep. Oh, goodness. Yes, that's what it is. Did you hear that? I didn't even say a bad word.
Golly goodness.
Golly jeepers.
Golly jeepers.
Oh, gosh darn it.
This is the channel to go to if you want family-friendly geopolitical analysis.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a category that exists.
It's a category that exists. That 100% exists. I need to complain about Trump some more. I don't know what I'm going to say about him, but gosh darn it, what a dastardly golf player.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly.
Hey, now the right one's big. Okay, cool. And then if I call this submit dry run. Oh yeah. We have the weird gas problem. And then I get this thing down there. And and it's not stretchy because stupid I added it as a thing.
Why would you add it as a thing?
Because I'm dumb.
Everyone knows
What?
you're not meant to add it as a thing.
Not a non-stretchy thing, no less.
Yeah.
Oh wait, but I did add it as a stretch. Okay, so the TX size. Oh, the TX sizer was not added as a stretchy thing. That's why. That's why. Okay. Oh, I'm like waiting for the program to start because I just like pressed up and hit enter. But up and enter was just to recompile that module. It's like, okay.
And back to you.
Yeah. Oh, once again, my stupid thing there. Okay. All right, now this should be. Ooh, look, it's stretchy-ish. Okay.
Semi-stretch.
If I don't have call args, actually, I want this to not be fat. How can I communicate that back to? Oh my god! How can I communicate that back to the thingy? Oh, the place I had the dimensions. That was actually what the dimensions were for before. Okay. Has args. Has args. And this is false. And then this is true. Whoa. Did you see my savvy use of atoms here? I mean, this is really going somewhere. I'm stupid. What function was I calling? Call arg sizer. Okay, has args. Where do I add? Where am I adding the arg sizer to the thingy? Right, y'all. That's where I'm doing it. Okay. Args. Should I do args? Arg size args because that's kind of funny. Did I just do that? I did. Yeah. Shibata. Yeah. That doesn't even get through. There we go. Has args of true. Wide 5. And if false, base 5. There we go. Arg sizer args. Okay. Let's see if that works. No. It did not work the way that I wanted. Okay, let's try this real quick. Oh, because I compiled the wrong thing. Once again, infallible me. Just testing you guys. Okay, that's better. See, I can copy paste this now.
Yay.
Oh, except except that I need to make these read only. It's like TE read only. I'm not going to trust my memory on that. I'm going to be wrong. It's going to be. Oh, it is TE read only. Look, I'm good.
You were just testing me to see if I remembered it.
Obviously. For shiz. Whatever that means.
Oh no. Oh no. Dad, you're embarrassing me.
Okay. Well,
I assume that's the reaction you were going for.
it's perfect. How this is a monstrously long line. Yeah, I don't like that. That's gonna drive me crazy in like a month. I'm gonna come back and look. It's like, what the hell was I doing? Ah, how long are these? These are pretty big. Jeez. Uh, mm. Doink. Okay. It built, so it's surely going to work. Oh,
This is Haskell Jerome.
It did actually. Dude, yeah. So I got all the things that I wanted out of this.
Wow.
I win. Okay. Now, well, the thing that I didn't get out of this though is I didn't get a translated thingy from it. You know,
The thingy. Those are important.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you about the thingy. So, I want to format this somehow and then translate the return value. This hideous freaking return value.
Yeah. Well, you'll need to pass the whole data structure. You basically got to do the thing. Like that's a Hakuzaru, basically a Hakuzaru feature. But do I have to link my?
Well, here we actually know what it is. We know that if it's an error, it's a string.
Yeah, but you got to like dig down to the return value thing, and if it's an actual post, then it'll be a different layout.
Yeah. If it's a transaction, not a dry run, like an actual call, it'll be a little bit different. That was an error in a dry run. Let's make a call out of it. Let's see what happens. Crash. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's how you know that you did something wrong. Is the window's not there anymore.
I actually prefer that to the version where the program subtly gets weirder and weirder until the whole computer freezes. That's what it was like trying to do like window manager stuff back in the day. It'd be like, and then you just got to sit there and think, what could have done that?
Window managers without memory protection.
Yes, the good old days when the bootloader was not a bootloader. It just said, "Okay, whatever's at 16, go."
Process 0. That's you, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're up. Hope your shit works. Like, we're gonna take your first 16K and shove that into memory and just let it go. And that's how it used to work. And then they're like, oh well, we have a more advanced one now, so a bit more subtle. See, based on what's at byte 1, we might load the first 16K or we might load 24K. Do you even have that much memory?
24. That's a bit extreme.
It is. Well, 480K is good enough for anybody or whatever it was. 640K was like an extreme amount of memory. Like, man, you write entire like lazily evaluated endless space games in 640K. You know, back when you were writing them in assembly, and the modem and the modem ran slower than you type. That was. I had a 300 baud. My first modem was 300 baud. Well, no, it's my first access to a modem was 300 baud, and I had phone cups. It had like a thing that you had to have like the standard kind of black phone
to put into
because
the
yeah, it had
that's
like like the standard AT&T sort of style phone. You had to like go, and you could hear it go. Wow, wow, wow. People, people.
there's no one's made YouTube videos that I can find of actual like information being communicated. Lots of people have made like dial up, like fax dial up and DSL dial up, as just audio tracks on YouTube, but no one's made like
Hmm.
where they actually intercept the ongoing transmission and record that, because I
We
guess people don't even know that part is a thing anymore.
Yeah, there was like the old ATDT, like all there was a. I mean, it was just there were different patterns to represent each number, and
Mm.
so it was like how fast could you switch those, but then there were hard caps on how fast you could make an analog modem go because there would be just like analog phones, you'd have like a hiss sound, and you have to
It's a bit of a
overwhelm.
noise.
You have like a crackle in the line or like a hiss or some kind of weird, kind of interference noise.
Mm.
The faster you go, the tinier your messages are that represent bits.
Mm.
And once you get down to the level of like your bits are so fine that the line noise overwhelms it, your shit just doesn't work anymore. And
Mm. Let's get
so there
into
was
high frequency.
yeah, so you just had like you were colliding with interference from line noise, and it was common. Like there were all kinds of ways people tried to fix that, but you just wind up having this problem where like a remote system can't know why a remote system's going haywire. You'll just never know. What am I got a bad match on a state record with some stuff, reason invalid TF. Well, at least I know it's an invalid transaction. Um, call to file blah 373. This time, because I dynamically loaded that, it didn't give me just the GDV call error. It gave me the full system path to the source file,
Wow.
which means there's something in the code loader where it's like after we're already running it. Oh, because it would not have thought of this as being coming from its ebin library path.
Mm.
So it would have thought that it needed to give a full because this module didn't come from ebin for it, right? ZX would have built it, put it in ebin, then put all the ebins that are relevant to this run into the library path list, and then just run stuff. And so GDV call is, of course, just GDV call.arrow, which will be sitting next to it somewhere in a source thing, right? In this case, I dynamically loaded that, so it's going to remember the whole thing because that never turned into a beam. Well, it did, but only in memory. It never turned to a file. So, tree 70 tree. It's over here. Wait. Reason bad match on something. Post TX. Bad match. Did I get a state record back from a call? That's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Nothing needs to match in this. GDV call. Okay, I'm going to do that again from scratch. Like, I feel like we're just weird enough here that I'm not getting what I want out of this. It's a little bit obscene that I've been able to get things to even work this far. Tail 43 Durka. Nope. Okay, so that is the correct thing. Source GDV call arrow 373. That is the line. Why am I getting a state record back from, what's this calling? Post TX? And more specifically, that doesn't make any sense. GDV call. Do I not have a TX info thing? I do. It's not giving me a further call down to TX info or to update info though. Huh? Oh, I see what I'm doing. I just did a really amazing brain fart syntax fail. Okay. I'm just getting invalid TX.
From actually posting it.
Yeah.
Well,
dry run. I get that.
Which was saying that the function wasn't payable.
Yeah.
So try not giving it a call.value.
I didn't. There's no amount in this call.
Yes, there is. That's all I can say.
Maybe there is. Maybe I need to do this. It changed it. I've got an ordering problem in here. These are getting put in like backwards. Which I think that all of my arguments are probably upside down on display. Not on display, it'd be on read. That they're mapping backwards. I have an AI generated funk song called "Who Made This Bullshit Ass Mac and Cheese" stuck in my head right now. That's a real really thing that's going on right now.
A window into the internal life. of Craig Everett.
Never meet your heroes. It's never been true.
Yeah.
You're fucking snorting now. I'm like, I've got you messed up.
I just love the idea of you calling yourself someone's hero
Yes. No buyer. Hey, this is correct. Hey, look at that.
while the mac and cheese song is going on in your head.
Yeah. Who made this bullshit ass mac and cheese? It's a great song, dude.
I'm sure it is. This is my believing voice.
It's perfect. Gonna live in a van down by the river. Contract byte array. I just called to look up on price, and I got contract byte array and then a bunch of shit. How would I convert that to an integer?
So that's the return value bit. Right. The numbers. So the numbers you then want to pass into GM bytecode.
Okay. How do I do that? GM.
I don't know.
GMB something, right?
Probably.
Oh, good. Appreciate
This is what you wanted me for, right?
yeah. That's what I wanted you for. To just sit there like a fucking. Have you been drinking gasoline? I know you're from Australia.
Oh my god. So I got my little convert result functions that really should have been in Hakuzaru a year ago.
Where we want them, actually.
Yeah. And I guess I'll go dig it up again. So we are converting a dry run result or a post result?
This is a dry run result. It's an integer. So, like, we have the information, the type information that we. If you have functions for this, I can call with the type info.
Yeah. So I at some point decided to pollute Hakuzaru with two functions. One called decode byte array, which takes type information, and another called decode byte array underscore fate that does not take type information and just gives you the
What are these in scope right now?
Yep, HZ colon decode byte array fate.
Encoded string is with the CB thing. The decoded.
Oh yeah, it might be the CB thing. Maybe.
Okay, I have this, and then fate, Sophia, fate.
No.
Oh, yep. Look at that.
Well, that is not how you're meant to use the function, but you got away with it this time.
Maybe we did. Is this it? Dude, it was accurate. Look at that.
Woohoo.
That's not how you're meant to use the function. Listen to you. In spite of your best efforts, you may have made something useful just here.
Exactly.
And despite my best efforts, my arguments are still being parsed backwards. But I will fix that because I know what's going on now. But yeah, look at that. Look at this. Ta-da! I was like, why is it 2202? Who would do such a thing? And it was probably me.
That's great. So now you don't even need to implement anything because you can just tell people, well, obviously you just enter HC decode byte array.
Obviously, you just I can do. Yeah, we'll do the Hans technique. Like, well, they can just stuff.
If they
and it'll
wanted
be
to, like, if you don't want to just have a blockchain, then I guess you could.
oh man. So basically, um, all right. Most people are not going to give a crap about this, right? They're going to want
Yeah,
this.
yeah. For Gadget Desk, it makes sense to just pass it completely.
Yeah. Um, I'll put this in like the terminal output or whatever, but
Mm.
I think I'm going to convert the stuff down here to like, I'm probably going to massively simplify transaction info actually, because I don't think we need, like, I needed to see what was going on earlier in the development cycle.
Mm.
Like, what are we forming? What's the binary? Like, what? So I
Mm.
was putting everything out here because it's for me and I'm the main character in this story.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I hand this to customers, they're going to be like, why there's no boobs on my screen? I
Mm-hmm.
wanted boobs on my screen. So I need to give, I
Your
think that,
program's broken.
yeah. So this needs to be like, I'll just take this whole space down here and make it one big, like, result sort of thing, maybe. Or maybe it'll be two. One that's like this. Also, TX info. I like how the label is in the box, so I can't copy the whole thing. I could have done an inset like that, right? The static text, but I
Mm-hmm.
did. It actually says TX info colon and then an airline term, and it's like, oh, good separation there.
Mm.
That's
We're selling the demo today.
yeah. Well, I mean, luckily, our viewership has roved through about 8 people total so far, so we're fine. Nobody knows.
Mhm.
There's like a couple of people that we know, and then like maybe 4 or 5 other people just like, what was that about?
Yeah, some uh, senior Erlang dev just drops by and
Yeah,
goes, "What the fuck is Craig doing this time?"
yeah. Matt comes back. He's like, no.
Actually, I'm not gonna deal with this today.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Cool. We are cooking though. I think I'm pretty sure, like almost positive. I can test my assumption real quick here. Copy to editor. I'm going to deploy this with well, I say I'm going to deploy. I'm going to attempt to deploy this. Where's the thing? Oh, I made the thing small. That's why I'm not seeing it when I. Okay. I made the browser size smaller, and I was waiting for the white flash of like the blinding light that was like you're at the browser thing now, but that wasn't right. Um. Now I need a stupid address, stupid address, stupid address. Okay, stupid address 0 0. Whoa, not that. That'll be a real ID later. 1 gas price TTL whatever. Yeah, it'll be alive for a long time. Sure. All right. I think these are backwards because of that. Actually, let me shrink this again. Oh, error reason. Oh, TX amount. I don't want that. Invalid TX. What's wrong with my transaction? QBQ base address is this. I wish there was a distinction between the address types. Like contract address is just contract address. It's like instead of saying contract, it's just address and then I mean, they're all accounts underneath, but it's like it'd be cool if I could specify that this needs to be a contract versus an account.
Where do you want to specify that?
Oh, just in types. Like it'd be cool if there was an annotation here. The base is
Uh,
like the base contract, which in this case is for the
yeah.
but
Well, so you can. There is a thing for that. Uh, but the trouble is, Sophia doesn't have a concept of an untyped contract. It's just an address that is known to be a contract. It has an address that could be a contract or a human, or it's an interface with a known set of entry points and all of the covariance object-oriented baggage that comes with interfaces.
it sounds so good.
Yeah. So just use that. Like if you had either the full source of the base contract or a interface for the entry points that the child contracts use, then you could make that base argument take in that interface, and then it would show up in the tooling as a contract rather than an address.
Yeah.
And the tooling would render it as a CT underscore instead of an AK underscore.
I mean, I like that we can substitute one for the other in many cases, but there's occasionally a time that I wish I could spec that I want a contract or a people.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I'm just saying it's close to being a thing. You just have to embrace the polymorphic interfaces to do it.
Embrace those polymorphic interfaces.
Mm-hmm.
Get in there
Wait
real
until the
deep. Like.
polycule.
Yeah, to say. Okay. Okay, so
With turtleneck lady.
the turtle lady. I mean, it just. I'd never seen anybody look so much like the turtle character from the cartoon Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm. It's quite endearing.
It was uncanny. Yeah, until you remember, like, the polycules are like, ew, gross. Like, don't, give her a hug. Like, no, don't. Actually, you might catch something.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You sound like a blonde girl from South Australia. Weirdly. You sound like this girl from New Zealand almost that like I played DayZ with. And she always did that thing where she can't say the word nice. She says noise. And I'm like, can you say okay? And she goes, okay.
This is very Australia, New Zealand gamer is just lots of noise.
Yeah, noise. I was like, what is it, noisy? She's like, no, it's noise. Like, okay, there's no vowel to start with. And then where did it get injected into the word nice? Nice. It looks like Nice almost, like the city, but it's nice. She goes, oh yeah, nice. I was like, no, noise. Like, I could just see her mouth getting big as like, noise. I don't get it. It's not as funny as telling Peter Santosh to say purple burglar alarm, and then he thinks about it for a couple seconds and goes, nah, not saying that. That was really funny. He knew there was like a trap. He's like, purple. Nope, not saying that. He just moved on. It's really funny. Self-assessed that this is not going to happen, and just moved on. That was funny. All right. Anyway, I think I've got the worst of this figured out. I'm going to have a think through why Why is a list a statically defined? Look, I got a statically defined list of parameters, right? They get printed in this order. They get
Mm.
shown in this order. Am I folding over that? I believe I'm mapping over this, so it should come out in that order, but like, I guess not. Oh, I know why. Oh, I totally know why. I did change that to, it was a map before. It's a fold over that, and I want to actually change that back to a map, but it is reversing the order of this
Yeah, right.
because I'm doing a left fold. Okay, and it's
Ah,
got the status and the out, and I'm
building up
building
the
that up. I'm
reversed
doing a
one side.
stack. Yes. Okay. Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, no. That's another one. Yeah, no. They'll start to say yes and they'll say no. And they'll be like, it's almost like the yeah is I understand what you're saying, and the answer is no.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. It's not
Yeah,
complicated.
nah. Yeah, oh, sure it's not. Um, okay, so
Or
that is
uh, if you're making a negative statement. Well, it's like how people say, "Oh, English doesn't have a distinction between, you know, answering yes or no to a no question, where yes,
oh, okay.
it's not versus no, it is not versus no, it is versus yes, it is. Um,
Right, right.
Australia just invented yeah, nah for
You just separate the case and you're like, I understand what you're saying, and also no.
well, yeah, and well, so if you say it's not raining, is it? Then I can say yeah, nah to be like yes, it is not raining.
Right.
I agree
Yes,
with
it
what
is
you're
not
saying.
raining. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
but it's
It's
also
really
been,
simple.
but that's also used in this like other context where the place I've encountered it is where people say like, you know, you meet her at the coast. And you're like, hey, let's go up to Tizzy, and she goes, yeah, nah. It's like, yeah, what's that one mean grammatically? I don't. It's definitely we're not going. Like I get that, but I don't get the construction.
um, yeah, that's like that's a gentle rejection in Australian.
In Australian. Yeah,
that's that's I don't want to say you're stupid for suggesting that, but let's just say we're not doing that.
yeah, yeah, something like this. Where is that even happening? I've got this extract args thing. Okay. Oh, the parameter extraction is different. Okay, that's why. I'm stupid. Yeah, so the arguments get extracted in this like really simple, just rip through it and get the value, blah. Okay. And then I should check kind of the way I check here. I have specific checks for parameters that I know have to be a certain way. And so I run the check over it, each one. And then we know if it's okay or if it's not. But the arguments, who knows? The only thing that I do know is that they can't be empty. Empty strings should be invalid here. Um, but I'm always returning okay values, which could just be values, which could just be a rip over this. But actually, it should be possibly error if an argument is stupid. So anyway, okay, okay. All right. Anyway, I don't know why contract deploy is not working yet in this context. Actually, I can run this real quick, just one more time. Assuming that I have the boink. Okay, so now it should just go, and it does. Look at that. Ta-da! Copy to editor. Deploy. Base thingy. Good old Bob here. This won't work again. I don't know why, though. I don't know why this one's going to be wrong. But I will get invalid. No? Did you see that?
No.
I didn't get invalid transaction this time. I got a transaction hash back. I actually just fixed that.
You fixed it, or was that the argument order thing, or?
No freaking way, dude. Contract deployment works now.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I have to finish the phrase. There we go. Yes, it all works. Okay, so I can just like make the interface less crappy and we'll be done with this stupid feature.
Yay.
With proper lifecycle handling for these ridiculous. Oh, I already closed it. For all, like, awesome. Okay, so this weekend I can just make it pretty and then blah, done. I'm totally like that's very motivating. Cool. Okay, so argument order was one of the it wasn't the only stinky thing in here, but that was the big stinky thing in here was this stupid going backwards with it. Along with a couple of other things that sorted out earlier, but it's anyway, cool. Yay. Now my final boss challenge is actually get how this is not on the head. This is I'm going to use your favorite word.
What's my favorite word?
Dekajiggering.
Dekajiggering.
Yeah. I'm just going to after
result passing.
I'm going to abandon the other branches because this one works, and the stuff that I changed in iPhase 2 late yesterday, or like there's used, it doesn't matter. It was trivial. It was mostly stuff like that. The handle troubling thing that was returning state, or that was returning okay instead of state, and then just now I made them all return state, and so it's just fine. It's gone. That stuff. There's no reason to like go revisit that stuff. There's nothing useful to save from there.
It isn't worth it.
I will have some questions about
pretty printing.
Yes, about decoding the contract, but the contract binary. Contract, was it called binary or bytecode or whatever it is? You know what I mean? Decode byte array. So HC decode byte array fate like worked pretty good. When I get a transaction hash back like this, that was actually just kind of awesome. because the next thing I did was TX info, and it was just blah the stuff. Okay, but that does that work for? I'm going to find out actually. I want to do this again a little bit. So we're on testnet. We have everything in scope. And what was the one? HC decode byte array, blah, fate. Okay, but then what about the one where I got like a wacky response back with like a. The hint on that actually was the silly thing when it said like you can't. This is not payable. That would, like later on, I'm like, wait, if that's the when was there ever
argument ordering thing has gone wrong so far? Maybe the argument ordering is wrong.
Yeah, if the argument ordering is wrong and it's telling me this is not payable, but the amount 0, is the amount really 0? That was like the hint to figure out the rest of it. And then I found obviously this is truly the problem down here. Where was the one? That one. Okay, decode byte array. I wonder if I can do it with just this giant string one. Nope. That doesn't work.
You thought I made something useful?
Well, so GM serial blah 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 API, the GM Ser API encoder decode a contract byte array encoded string. That works, and it returns contract byte array and then the string, right? But that's the error case. The other one, decode byte array fate with a return value from the whatever. But that, you said that's not how I'm supposed to call that? How is I? How is I supposed to call?
Let me see. So there's the Rumble Studio View is tiny, postage stamp size. And the YouTube stream has a delay, so I'm just looking at the YouTube stream. Oh god, it's typing stuff. I hear the sounds and then I see the effects change.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. So you want to decode underscore byte array underscore fate and then put in the CB globe and no second argument.
Decode underscore byte array
underscore fate. So it's all part of the function name.
I only have decode byte array.
There should be one called decode byte array fate.
There's decode byte array, the byte array, and then fate.
No, that's not a thing. It's not real.
But it worked. I didn't do that, I promise. There's a hidden call. There's a non-exported function that just does what. That'd be funny. You know what I was thinking of? Since Peter's not going to watch the end of this. So, you know that clip where I was I was on. I was playing Tetris, right? And then
Mm,
it didn't give me a bar for the whole game,
mm,
and then it killed me with a bar at the end.
mm.
And I'd like, that will never happen again. But then, Peter's like, the guy who wrote this probably hates you. I'm like, aha.
Mhm.
Um, I think I'm gonna do a check. I'm gonna do an update to Aerotris. Have like one version of it where it's gonna check if the username is P Harpend, and only then it will change the selection matrix completely, so that you
Okay.
have like a 1% chance of getting a line and like an
Uh-huh.
80% chance of getting the little
I
S
saw
squiggly ones, and
that.
then a 19% chance of getting anything else.
Hmm.
And it'll only happen when he's the one playing.
Brilliant.
It will not affect anybody else in the world, just the one guy. And I'm not going to say anything about it. I'll just invite him to play someday. I'll be like, hey, show me if you got good at Tetris, like on stream, and just watch him flip out. I should have a
There's
Minesweeper too. Like if your name is P Harpend, then the density is like twice whatever you set it to.
um
And I'd be like, it's
the
randomized. I don't know.
well
Because it
so
is.
you could do way worse. You could have it be really easy, except it puts it structures where you have to guess like three of them or four of them, so you have a 1 in 16 chance of winning, even though the entire board is empty.
Yeah. Oh
That'd be
yeah. It could
really
like
cool.
black out everything. And then there'll be a grid in the middle that's like a ring that you can't get in, with like
Mhm.
four in the middle, and one of them is a mine. And there's no way that you can ever click in there normally to find out
Well,
anything.
three of them are mine.
Yeah, just like you'll have to try to get, like, I want to make it so just one of them's a mine, so that you have to click 3 times and be nervous about every click. So that
Right. Good.
just make it awful. It's like, why does this specific layout keep happening just to me? It's like, oh, it's random, bro.
That's so weird.
It's so strange. However could that be happening? Or actually, after every click, I'm gonna apply a game of life transform to where the mines are, and they'll shift.
Yeah. There's a game that came out a few years ago that's become a bit popular recently. I only learned about it recently, called 14 Minesweeper Variants, and it's got a setting which is if you ever guess, it will and it's not deductively provable, and like the game knows what's deductively provable or not, and
Mhm.
it can tell if you're guessing or not, and if you ever guess, it moves a mine there and then says you lose.
Oh man, I really love the ones where you can't guess, because
Mm.
like, or where you have to guess basically.
Uh-huh.
You play the whole board and you leave something open. You're like, well, I'll come back to you, and then you do
Uh-huh.
the whole board and you're left with two, and you're like,
Uh-huh. Well,
"Oh,
fuck.
okay, and you've done the whole thing. You've done all the work, and you click the wrong one. You're like, yeah, of course, that's what it was. Yes, it was never going to go a different way.
Mm. But I think you're unique in that being not just a part you like, but your favorite part of Minesweeper.
It's funny to
Like,
me.
mhm.
Like, yeah. So if I'm fucking, that was great. Okay, see, it just keeps happening. Oh, look at that. This one's really easy today. And so, which, of course, I did that just now,
Is he
when it
not
was easy.
funny?
Mm-hmm.
Peter.
I'm not really paying attention, but yeah. What's What's funny is when you put like the mine density up, it's like
Mm.
instantly impossible.
Hmm. Do you
Well, I believe
know
that.
um, a lot of Minesweeper games will make it so your first click gives you a clear 3x3 area so that it's fairly likely to give you good information. So it'll generate in response to your first click.
Mine does not. Mine does generate in response to your first click. It does not do it in a particularly friendly way.
Hmm.
It
Well,
just
I'm
makes
just
sure that your
saying
first click can't kill
another
you.
your first click can't kill you. Yeah, that's something. Um, the
Not all of them
uh,
even do that.
first click you lose.
Yeah, you just
Uh,
die.
well, so I have a second far-end mode, which is the first click always gives you the number 8.
Okay, I like that. Even if the density is really low, we're just gonna
Yeah.
populate that. We're gonna have a coordinate rule that's like every adjacent thing is a mine.
Hmm.
You click in the corner and you're like, oh, I know, I'll get out of this by clicking in the corner. It'll break the game. No, it just says 3.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be a very clean rule where
Hmm.
that'll always work right, and it will just always put you completely surrounded. Actually,
What are the
I
first 3 clicks?
I think I don't remember because I haven't. It's been like a couple minutes since I wrote this thing. Um, I believe that you don't get the mine number. Yeah, you don't get a count until you click it.
Ah, now that is a
So
nice board.
yeah, that was nice. Normally, it's not. I get shit like that usually, and then I go, okay, where's it? Oh, holy shit!
Woohoo! I
Okay,
like how it's a very similar effect to when you're playing Dwarf Fortress and you hit a cave and suddenly a whole lot of black cells turn into all kinds of funky IBM ASCII shit, and you go, "Whoa, there's a map," and then a kobold comes into your base and kills all your dwarves.
yeah, this
It's a more positive experience in Minesweeper.
I think maybe it's the controller. I think the board just reacts to display commands. It's really simple. The the clicked coordinate thing. Yeah, so we have a new grid. So we click and then uncover. If it's empty, we uncover, and uncover has a crazy. This sets up a nice little recursive call to uncover adjacent stuff and goes and
Ah!
yeah, it checks everything real quick. And I was like, is this going to be slow? And no, it's not. It's fine.
It's fine.
Like everything else where I'm like, is it going to be slow to loop over? Nope, not at all. So that wound up working out really well. But this was fun to write. This was like an afternoon.
Mm.
The only sort of hard part to do it, to get this, Tetris was really easy too. The only hard part to these was like deciding how to draw the board. Oh, and this is actually the thing that I need to fix in here. Oop, that's wrong. The thing I need to fix in here is the GUI. Remember that paint callback thing I was talking about?
Mm.
I
In Windows, in Mac.
Yeah, I need to actually force an event paint callback thing. And right now, what's happening is update square. Because I'm just drawing to the bit. It's really simple. I'm just like redrawing the state. This right here, this redraw. this needs to have the DC client thing. What redraw should do is force an event to trigger on the WX side, and then a callback needs to be connected to that event, and the redraw has to happen in the context of that event. That's what should. So this redraw thing needs to be wrapped up in a closure. So the state's going to be funky because like the whole state doesn't need to be in there. I need to have the state accessible from within the context of the callback. So you have to emit the event with like the state information attached to it, and then the references have to be closed over by the callback to make it all work right. So, and I just haven't thought through like picking that apart to make it happen. But basically, this code right here, where I create a new panel, I get the client size, and then because it's got scaling, you can stretch it right, and the things get bigger, skinnier, whatever. Oh, this is the stupid change. Remember when they added maybe to Erlang because they're stupid? So I've got an atom in here called weather permitting.
Perfect.
Instead of, it used to be maybe, and I had to change it to weather permitting because of horrible people that need to go away. Update the maybe atom in the most utterly retarded way possible to satisfy incompetent buffoons who add bullshit keywords to languages in the service of useless pet features brought in from lesser languages. God have mercy on them, for I will not. One note for anyone reading who is interested in language design: you cannot add keywords to a language later. If you do, you have created a new incompatible language.
I like I like the way you first explained it, where you're like, "Oh, stupid people who need to go away." Just the way it sounds like a 4-year-old playing with some Barbie dolls, getting out some, like, doing a little 4-year-old therapy session about the bullies at school. I don't like them. They're mean.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm happy with getting that done. I will have a nice present for Dimitar, I think, on Monday, probably. I just need to go through some of the a little bit further dekajiggering needs to happen.
Still a little bit dekajiggered.
Dekajiggered. It's not it's it's like kojiggered.
Kojiggered.
Kojiggered, yeah. It's not dekajigger. It's chottojiggered. Skoshijiggered.
Skoshijiguru.
Yeah, skoshijiggered.
I don't think jiggered works in Japanese.
No, it's really bad because it comes out like jiguru.
Jiguru.
And that sounds like jigoro.
Well, I don't know what that is.
Gigolo?
Oh, gigolo. I see.
Gigolo, yeah. Yeah, so, okay. This is getting better. What does the diff look like? I wonder if I did a PR. Can I see the diff? Oh, it's huge. Ooh. 858 additions and 661 deletions. Jesus.
Been working on that one for a little while.
Yeah, it's been delayed weeks, dude. Coming up on a month for this 4-day change. But I did probably half of that in like 2 days, just like going, because a lot of it was quite obvious. I'm at the slower paced, detailed bits now. But yeah, that was like Anyway, well, I need to get out of here. We have a call in an hour and a half.
Frick.
And I think there won't be too much in that call. I have to write a bunch of stuff. No! I have to write a bunch of things that have nothing to do with programming.
No.
Yeah. So I will do that eventually. And I will be sad. Does this work? Oh, I can like do this arrangement thing. Like, see?
Wow.
Looks better now. You can see that T-Rex hates push-ups.
And Jay.
Yeah, and J. I like how it's just J. Like, ooh, look at that. This is stinky. All right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's how you know you've been working hard.
Yeah, working hard. Anyway, I'm glad to have those bits done. I will have a nice present for Dimitar soon. So, anyway, I will see you at the next meeting. Take care. Invisible, unrendered person who may or may not be real.
Code code instance.
Well, your name, it's funny because your name is Jarvis, actually.
Oh, yeah. I forget
And so,
that sometimes.
yeah, so it's, like when I'm flying around in my power suit and I'm like, Jarvis.
That's what working at QPQ is like.
Yeah, completely. That's what it is. Anyway, cool. I will talk to you.